Okay, right. Just want to do like a little bit of a volume check. I think it's fine. I don't know. Twitch is kind of unstable. So today's stream is gonna be a little bit different from the other streams that I normally do. Mostly because I don't want to re-record everything for YouTube. So I'm gonna be combining this as a writing masterclass in the first part as well as a writing session in the second part. So right now the music is muted. Thank you for joining. If you're not joining, it's fine. I'll clip this out for the writing channel. So before I begin, I thought about it a lot for like the past 2 years or so. Like when was the last I can't remember. So for those of you who don't know, I'm actually a writer. I'm not actually a VTuber slash streamer. I started as a writer. I still am a writer. I just transitioned from Medium. So no pun intended. I am on Medium, but I am also transitioning into screenwriting. So I am using Scrivener. I am exploring how it works. I'm running out all the tech stuff right now. It's kind of confusing. And then earlier, like 35 minutes ago, I was running through the L2D, the VTube Studios. It did not work, and I was like, "Why is it not working? The camera refused to obey things." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Oh my God, Cephalonia. Yes, yes, VTube Studio finally worked. It wasn't VTube Studio that was not working. I don't know what was not working. It's like the camera just refuses to work. I couldn't get it to move like now. Now the tracking is great. I had to recalibrate everything. I don't know what happened there. It scared the fuck out of me. So you knew I was having trouble, huh? Popping in and out of the app while on stage. Yeah, that was me. That was definitely me. uh not by like my choice, like I wanted to stream this afternoon, right? Because I'm like, I finally have time. I finally finished the philosophy course. I finally finished like the 10 session things on like the Medium itself. So I was like, okay, time to like redo like a new project. And then Alistair, the guy whom I'm writing this book for, my rental Oji-san turned into a cat. It's a meme book. So yes, Amazon did ban me, but this is not for Amazon, so it's okay. So it's gonna be like a 500 Twitch follower goal that I told Alesta. I was like, if you hit 500, I'll write you this meme book, right? It was in chat, and then they screenshot it, and then they hit 500. So now I have to do it. But I was like, it's been a while since I do any writing related classes. How did I get banned from Amazon? Amazon terminated me on no grounds or whatsoever proof, okay? They said I was manipulating market. I was like, what market? Because I was selling books finally after 10 years? Yeah, so, anyways, Amazon is a piece of shit, right? So I don't even think, okay, so common industry practice for self-published authors, right? I don't care where you come from. All self-published authors, they actually put like links to their website and stuff at the back page, in the author's page, right? Like that's kind of standard practice. And then I started like, I did a lot of those meme books, and then the meme books actually started selling copies, right? So they kind of thought that I was like, hacking or something. And I was like, no, it's just I'm doing well. I'm finally doing well. Before even they can cash out on the check, my first check, right? So it's 100 USD for any region accumulated that they're supposed to send you a check. I was very close. I was like 80 or 90 USD over like accumulated for like 10 years, right? And then they just literally they terminated my entire account, no warning whatsoever, 2 days before one of my new books was supposed to be released, like I think somewhere Valentine's, right, this year. So I've been contemplating from then. I was like, damn, if I'm gonna do like a master class for writing, I'm gonna redo the new one, right? If I'm gonna redo it, like, am I still fit or like qualified enough to be a writing mentor? Also, yes, the appeal thing didn't work. I went there and I asked and I challenged them. I was like, give me evidence of these. And they said, no, we've determined that you violated our terms. This is the terms and conditions. These are the things. You should know what you're violating. I was like, what the fuck? They are actually really, I think I made like a really long thing on Twitter, now known as X. Okay, I made a really long thread about it. I had like all the documented facts there. So if you guys want to dig through that, feel free. It's really terrible, man. Like Yeah, it's automated. Okay. Well, I don't know. Like I can't even appeal. They literally banned it like my IPs. They banned my bank. They banned everything. And then realized that I'm also on Amazon seller, not just Create Space Amazon. So that makes things worse, which means Coffee Create doesn't really have a channel right now on Amazon for international, which is why I'm dying. I'm gonna wind up the business sooner or later, right? I'm gonna make like a couple of things to the business and then I'm gonna try and find a bit to sell Coffee Create away and make up the money that I spent on this business as an investment because I want to do my masters, right? Want to do my masters and then I want to see if I'm going to take a PhD. I don't know yet. I really don't know yet. So my life is kind of undetermined at the current moment. Well, it is what it is. So yeah, the Amazon terminated me. So I was like, yeah, if I got banned from Amazon for no particular reason at all, am I still qualified enough to be your online writing mentor? Yes, I want to make a new one, but I also realize I'm not very involved in like the web community anymore, web novel community and all those web fiction things because I am moving out to become a screenwriter. And for those of you who don't know what screenwriting is, it's the kind of people who write like spec scripts, right? Like for movies, right? We write the things for movies itself. So I want to do that. I'm interested in doing that only because my writing style is very, very related, or rather say my writing style in fiction, even in fiction, is very suitable for screenwriting. So someone once told me that and start for Singapore movie industry. Okay, look, I don't care who it is as long as they give me money, yes? Spec scripts. So I'm just gonna publish a ton of things out there. I don't know how yet. I need like some industry advisories and stuff like that. I don't have an agent or whatsoever. I don't even have my first script. But yes, I will be submitting all these short ones to like film festivals to just kind of get my name out there and stuff like that before I make feature length stuff. But that's kind of like in my free time and like when I'm not busy making other things. So yeah, I'm making a transition. I'm not completely gone. I'm still on Medium and I will still be writing PhD theses, books and stuff like that in preparation for PhD programs because before, okay, for those of you who don't know PhD, right? You gotta write this kind of like idea and draft of what your ideas of a research is going to be before you can apply to a PhD program, and you have to pitch this to a particular professor, all right? The one that is you are going to work with during your PhD program itself. So firstly, I don't know any professors who do integrated whatever that I want to do. Secondly, I have two and a half. I say half because the third one is still incomplete, which is why I'm doing a lot of self-studying right now. I have to redo all my math studies, unfortunately, because PhD requires me to have empirical theories, like empirical findings, which is like higher math. Okay, it's higher than calculus. I don't even know calculus. I haven't learned differential and integral math. I need that, and then I need the one on top of that, and then I need to do higher math, like university, like research level math for that. May or may not include like some form of programming for like stats and what is that, data analytics. So Python, I might need Python. I don't know yet. There's a lot of things I don't know, guys. Yeah, so there's that. It's gonna take a while. Yes, so anyway, so I was thinking about this for a very, very long time before I did it because I didn't have the confidence. I didn't know if I was still qualified to call myself your writing mentors, which also means that I'm going to be shifting a lot of the existing writing course itself because I feel like I should kind of monetize it somehow and not make it entirely free. The website hosting on Wix, that one that I didn't do, yeah, that one's free, okay? That one's free. It's not the most relevant, it's free right now. So I want to do something a little bit more practical, right? There are so many writing courses out there that people have already made, like, oh, let's teach you how to write and stuff like that. It's not gonna be too much different from that. The only difference is that I'm gonna teach the more practical stuff, right, with examples. So stuff like this I'm gonna do, and then I'll put some out on YouTube and Medium. Those are like the free ones that you guys can take. But if you guys want more details, right? So I'm gonna put it all on Ko-Fi or somewhere. I don't know yet, man. I don't know. I know that I need to make money somehow. Coffee is not the way, and I want to do it in a meaningful way. Yes, I don't want to do the capitalist route, unfortunately. It is the easiest way to get rich, but it's not. It's I unfortunately I still have ethics. Yeah, I'm still bound by oath and code. I made a promise to my therapist and all my teachers and like the people. I was like, you won't go to jail. Yeah, I even if I do bad things, I won't let you know so that you don't know and then you don't have to testify and you don't have to feel conflicted if I go to jail. But for the most part, right, I will try to avoid taking that route. Like I will try to avoid the non-legal route. So let's do what we can legally as much as possible. Yeah, like Chibi is not. You know, I don't want to lead you guys astray. I want to be here for as long as I possibly can, but there is no guarantee, right? So I'm gonna try stuff. I'm gonna do things a little bit differently from now on, a little bit differently. You guys might see the difference. But anyways, today is going to be this. Previously, I mentioned something about using AI to help you with drafting. Yes and no. So this one is going to be simpler, right? It does not require AI. It just requires common sense, or rather a logical flow of thought. So today, before I jump into this, yeah, congratulations to Alester Napalm for having 500 followers on Twitch. This is actually for him. In case you guys can't tell, it's actually for him. So Oji-san is because Alester himself is okay, wait, let me try and give him a shout out. Alester himself is actually Alester Napalm. Okay, so that's him. Yeah, Alester Napalm. Right, he is actually a middle-aged person. I think he's older than me, right? He's middle-aged. He's good looking, I think. And yeah, so Rockmon. Okay, so like this is actually catered specifically for him. So he likes goth mummies. I'm just saying this. Okay, I added something a little bit in there kind of for him. And he wants to do this kind of like a reading stream thing. So as you can see, so I removed the author page here because this is going to be converted into a PDF so that he can give to his like viewers and followers when it's ready and do like a reading stream for it. Okay, so 500 Twitch followers. So these are the table of contents, right? Okay, let me just try and find. It should be somewhere in Discord. Hold on. So the initial draft ideas was something like this. I sent it to him in DMs, and then I got like, I got him to kind of like verify it and let me know like where's the directions of it. So I'm gonna copy like the conversations, right? So the conversation with Alester kinda looks like this. And I'm just gonna put it on this page, right? so so yeah, so it was like this. Alright, so I asked him, I was like, there are two ideas, right? So which one do you prefer? I said the first one is like a cat boy version because he has a cat ear redeem thing. So it's just like turning into something with ears and tails with strange manner of speech, etc. And then after that, like the second idea is like a werecat kind of thing. It's like werewolf, but you turn into a cat instead. So like, which one does he prefer? Because this one didn't really state what it was, but yeah, so basically like rental boyfriend, but if your boyfriend was older and it's like a rental uncle thing, you know, an age gap kind of thing, and then turn into a cat. So I didn't know it was gonna be a cat boy or it was gonna be a cat. So then I asked him, I was like, okay, in this sense, because this is definitely not like, you know, not a very clean comedy kind of plot style. So I asked him a second question. I was like, how bad can this get? You should know by now. I am a goddess in certain genres. If you don't know that by now, get off the internet, right? So I asked him, I was like, how bad is it? And because he's gonna do a reading stream, so he asked me to keep it to PG-13, which I definitely did cater to. And then knowing him as a person, right, he has a thing for goth ladies. He loves rock. So this is literally what and then I fleshed it out. So later on, I think it was this, right? So this is the idea that I fleshed out after he chose. Hold on, let me just show you guys. Alright, so this is the idea that he chose, right? He preferred the Catboy version of it, so I decided to expand on that one line that you saw earlier. So the one line was like this earlier. Okay, so you go from this to this. Alright, this is part of the masterclass now. So you go from this one line, just a general idea. Okay, we call this genre. Okay, we select the genre first. So this is the genre. The Catboy is gonna be a genre, and then we expand on it. It's a general idea of it, right? So in the idea stage here, some of the things that you want to look at are actually things like characters. Okay, things like plot. Wait. So plot highlights. Okay, go in this case I have the witch and I have Alester himself, because it's a very simple one. Witch, what did it become? Watch, witch mommy lady. Okay, and then there's like the friend here as well, so witch friend, so that's like a side character, it's like an NPC. So witch friend, this is a plot driver, call them plot drivers. And then the plot highlights is going to be, okay, so three simple things. Normally we keep it to the number of three. This is gonna be date, this is gonna be okay, first one is gonna be jilted, and then rental date, and Catboy. Alright, so these are the things that you do when you are fleshing it out. I think in the previous one, I have already mentioned this before in like the outline steps. So this is what we do in real time. And then some of the things that I were to put inside here, we're gonna do this as in original ideas, right? Original quirks, okay? We can say quirks. So in this part here, we want goth mummies, okay? And we want himbo cat boys. And we want PG-13 spice. So these are the unique selling points, okay? USP, unique selling points. Damn, my typing is trash. Okay, so these are the things that are unique selling points right now. Oh my god, wait. Why is the bot kind of being weird? Okay, I'm gonna have to check, mix it up later. Why is Rockmon like the first thing that they do a shout out with? I just realized this. I'm sorry, Shield. Okay, let's do a manual. Manual shout out, Shield. Security, Nihilus. Did I get it right? Please let me say that I didn't get it right. Fuck. Okay, hold on. Okay, how do I? Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, man, I don't know how to use Twitch. I don't know how to use Twitch, guys. Ah. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna mod you guys. Give yourself shoutouts from now on, yeah? Give yourself shoutouts from now on. I know some of you guys are also streamers from Alestis. Yeah, anyways, there we go. Help yourselves, okay? Help yourself. Make yourselves home. Alright. Okay, so where was I? Okay, unique selling points. So original quirks are some of the things that you want to put in here. These are the things that cannot be replicated by AI, right? So these are things that if you want to use AI to help you plot in, you can. It's going to have to be manually included because the AI usually just takes whatever that's like, you know, mainstream, and then you don't have that selling edge and advantage. So this is not gonna be what, you know, is they will not be able to predict this. This is gonna give you the advantage of your own originality and your own creative direction into what you want to do. This is highly customizable. I highly advise that new writers actually put their wildest thoughts into it. Like keep it to three. Yes, keep it to three. Like I kept three things. So goth mummies, which is the witch itself, a himbo cat boys, which is a thing, and PG-13 spice. So these are my things. And with that, you are literally done with the plotting side of things. Can you see that? It's so simple, right? This entire thing. So you come up with stage one. Okay, we run through it again. Stage one is a genre. So pick a genre, right? And once you have a genre, now stage two is where you flesh things out in threes. So you want characters, you want plot highlights, and you want to put something that's unique to yourself. So keep them to like three. Very simply, because this is below 20,000 words. It might be even 10,000 words. I don't know. So 20,000 words would take me about 2 hours to, I don't know, 2 to 4 hours to write, somewhere around there. Okay, so in my average, if I do 5,000 words an hour, it's gonna be 4 hours, but I don't think I'll take that long. I don't have finger arthritis. If I don't have that, I type really fast, and I make coffee for a reason. I'll be fine. Right, so this part here done. All right, the next thing that I want to go to is actually pacing. Right, so when we have these ideas now, see that this entire thing is like one chunk itself. It sounds like, oh, it's very easy to do it, and then you can, like, you know, just write at it, and like no need to like partition this into different chapters. You're wrong. Okay, please don't. Even with a 20,000 word thing, you are going to need this project to go a little bit more structuredly. So what you want to do is to identify where your breaks or your breaths or your scenes end. So for example, I'm going to use highlighters here. Okay, so this part here is literally one thing by itself. Yes? Okay. Alright, and then this part here is another scene by itself. So I change the color. Okay, so you put the cookie and turn it into this. Okay. And this part here is another one. Can you see? So I already have 3 overarching highlights. Okay, but I have 5 chapters. So how did I do this? Let me show you how I did this. All right, so these are the general ideas. Each one itself may or may not be one chapter alone. All right, so you have your introduction, you have your ending. So these, and then the center part is where all the fun begins, right? So first one, okay, this is what I fleshed it out to. This is the summary of how the entire chapter is gonna be. When I say chapter in this kind of meme book cases, we call these light reading, right? Light novels. It really depends. It doesn't have 1,000 words per chapter. It's not like traditional novels whereby it's like 2,500 to 5,000 words a chapter either. These are light reads, so it can be anything. But you want to craft it out accordingly based to the scene, right? So the first one over here was that she got jilted, and then the friend recommends a comfort service in the form of Oji-san. So this over here gets stood up on a date. So I fleshed it out a little bit more. All right, I'm just gonna copy this thing so that it's easier for you to see the demonstration on exactly how we get here. Okay, so which gets stood up on her date. This is the fleshing out part. Can you see that? Got jilted. Okay, before, this is the before part. Complains to her friend about it. Okay, so this is the in-between part. Before, in between. So this is the part. Friend recommends comfort service. So friend recommends at the new rental lover app. Okay, this is the comfort service that you specify, right, to choose from instead. Okay, but here we didn't even get to the choosing part. Okay, represents this until this part here. Okay, so chapter 1 is here. This one line is for chapter 1. Right, in the form of the Oji-san. So we take a look at chapter 2. Okay, so chapter 2 is here. Oh, 違うんです。ちょっと。Okay, so chapter 2 is here. Let me just remove this. Okay, so she browsed through the services and then she decides, okay, on a fit-looking older man under the uncle category, which is like the more mature category, which happens to be a blonde himbo. This is our unique selling point. Can you see that? It's one of our unique selling point. Maybe okay, you know what? Red, fine. This is fine. So unique selling point. This is a blonde himbo that we put in there. So this is the personality of Alesta himself described here. Okay, this is fleshing out. You know, so these are traits itself that you should be looking at. Okay, and then books him for a home dinner date. So this part here is, as you can see, renting for a home dinner date. Can you see that? So we have these two parts combined. This is going on the chapter 2, and we have unique selling points here. Okay. Maybe I should remove this. Okay, so these are unique selling points. Okay, so actually, if I were to do this, okay, this is a unique selling point because this is, we have goth mommy here. Okay, this is her goth mommy aesthetics, right? So these are like unique selling points over here. Okay, and then we're gonna take this and we're gonna repeat this. I'm gonna go to chapter 3 itself. Okay, so over here, can I just remove it? Okay, I can't. So they have this nice home dinner date. Okay, this is the main action, and then after that there's like a transition. Yes, so we have the transition here, this part. Okay, so transitioning of the date. The date itself is like the main arc here. Can you see that? Nice dinner date. This is like the main arc here, and then the other one is what we call the bridge, in case you guys don't know. Right, so this is how we learn the pacing. You want it to flow into the next part without actually compromising on the content itself. And how much to do it is up to you. You are the writer. You can enjoy this however the dinner is gonna be. So I fleshed this dinner day out entirely into a few parts here. Can you see nice dinner day at the table? So we have activities over here, right? These might be unique. Okay, chatting. How do they chat? I don't know yet, but later we'll figure out when the characters come to life. But realize that this has to be very in line with what you originally had. These are character traits, right? That's why we have character files, but because it's only less than 20,000 words, I don't have a character file. I normally do that for like longer series, but this is not really important because we have goth mummy, we have blonde himbo, gentle, optimistic, and then she's, you know, we didn't really specify who the witch is gonna be like, but I feel like the witch can be a little bit flirty and sassy and give off a little bit more mommy vibes, so that could happen. So after dinner, she clears the table and da da da, and these are all like actions, right? So this is like the turning part whereby he ate some, and then after that he transforms. So this is a very tell sign. This part here is where we actually want to set the mood. Yes, keyword here is set the mood. So we set the mood for the next one. Okay, the next chapter would be the highlight, obviously. Okay, this is a very long thing. All right, let me just remove these. Alright, so this part here is literally this last line. Can you see? So this is like the highlight of the entire series. Can you see? This is the cue of it. Okay, this entire thing is the unique selling point that we have. So the witch comes back and then he finds like this guy on like the couch and is like, oh my god, and gets seduced and stuff like that. So yeah, this entire thing is just the plot service. Okay? In this entire meme book, we are selling service. Okay, we're selling fan service. Okay, we're not selling highbrow like political maneuvers and like psychological jitsus. Like, no, we're not even going into angst. We're not even going into like rom-com. We're just selling fan service, which already, if you don't remember, in the very first line that we have in the outline here, it's just cat boy. That's what we're doing. And that's what you're going to have to remember to sell and promise, which is this. Chapter 4, the turning point and the reason why you picked up this book in the first place, yes? So some of the things that might happen, all here. Okay, I'll leave the rest to imagination. And then the last one, as you can see, we ran out of things in the original outline, but it's still here. So, alright. So a highlight here is comfort service. Can you see that? So we tie it back. Normally I like to tie my endings back to my beginnings. So this is like the entire arc here. Can you see that? So time skip next morning and then blah blah blah. Okay, so this part here, Brian Sleepy Smile, and these are the things that are in line with his character in the first place, remember? So we did say that he was a blonde himbo. We did say that he is gentle and optimistic. So he has to fit that. We haven't defined the witch yet, but the witch over here that I fleshed out, right? So just enjoyed it very much. Okay, so this is like the highlight of the witch itself. So it comes back to the comfort service of the friend and stuff like that. So yeah, it ties out very neatly. I hope there is not too much plot armor, but in any case, it doesn't have to make complete logical sense in like a realistic sense because we are writing fiction, but it has to make sense in the world building mechanics itself. And I feel that this is going to be a very well crafted piece. So that's how we do the pacing. Reason why it's because Look at this. Look at this. The scene is cut here abruptly, so you have to fill in the juicy blanks yourself. And based on the juicy blanks, there is no way she's gonna hate it, right? So according to this very logical, non-logical flow, this is the optimal ending, right? Don't give in to writer's impulse, okay? Like I know a lot of writers, y'all like, let's kill someone in the book. No, don't. Okay, control yourselves. Control yourself, guys. Okay, if it doesn't require murder, don't do murder. Okay, not everything has to end in tragedy. I understand that best myself. Okay, and that's the end of the masterclass. So if you have questions, leave it in the comments on YouTube video. I'll be editing and re-upping this to YouTube itself. But for now, I will be doing the actual writing. So I will probably play some music and shut up unless someone talks to me. Yep. So you guys have it. I'm going to start playing music now. Where is it? And then I hope that it doesn't like, you know, get banned. If it gets banned, I'll get sad, but I'll have to re-record this. It's fine. I have like the footage. I just have to do voiceovers again. It's okay. I'm a pro. I know what I'm doing. I don't. Save me. I don't. Fucking cam didn't work earlier. I'm gonna cry. Mix it up. It doesn't work either. I'm gonna cry. Okay. Alright, I'll shut up now. There we go. So the music, you can see it for yourself. It is 1000 Foot Crunch. Crunch. Wait, what does it say? 1000 Foot Crunch. My bad. Alright, so we're just looping it the entire thing for like an artist. Today it's going to be them. Okay, so I'll do the writing now and I'll shut up. You guys enjoy.
Like stereo lights in the dark, we rise like sparks, like stereo lights in the dark, we rise like sparks, like stereo lights in the dark, we rise like sparks, yeah, 'cause I light up, I light up, I light up, you make me, yeah. The trouble with truth is it never lies, and the trouble with wrong that it's never right. So I rest my head under your light. The trouble with peace is it never fights, and the trouble with love that it's always blind. I wanna walk to the edge of it tonight. The trouble with tears is that they dry, and the trouble with things made me wanna cry. I've never felt so much like I'm alive. here comes the danger up in this club. When we get started, man, we ain't gon' stop. We gon' turn it out till it gets too hot. Everybody sing, hey, yo. Tell them turn it out till they can't no more. Let's get this thing shaking like a disco ball. This is your last one and a courtesy call. Hey, yo. Here comes the danger up in this club. When we get started, man, we ain't gon' stop. We gon' turn it out till it gets too hot. Everybody sing, hey, yo. Tell them turn it out till they can't no more. Let's get this thing shaking like a disco ball. This is your last one and a courtesy call. I am not afraid of the storm that comes my way. When it hits, it shakes me to the core and makes me stronger than before. It's not a question about trust, but we stand with us. Can you feel it? Make it real. Oh, I think it might wash away tonight. Awaken from this never-ending fight. It takes more than meets the eye. This war we're fighting is not just riding. Hey, yo, here comes the danger up in this club. When we get started, man, we ain't gon' stop. We gon' turn it out till it gets too hot. Everybody sing, hey, yo. Tell them turn it out till they can't no more. Let's get this thing shaking like a disco ball. This is your last one and a courtesy call. There's a rumble in the floor, so get prepared for war. When it hits, it'll knock you to the ground. When it shakes up everything around. But survival is a must, so we stand with us. Can you feel it? Make it real. Make me feel it. Oh, I think it might wash away tonight. Awaken from this never-ending fight. It takes more than meets the eye. This war we're fighting is not just riding. Hey, yo, here comes the danger up in this club. When we get started, man, we ain't gon' stop. We gon' turn it out till it gets too hot. Everybody sing, hey, yo. Tell them turn it out till they can't no more. Let's get this thing shaking like a disco ball. This is your last one and a courtesy call. Hey, yo, here comes the danger up in this club. When we get started, man, we ain't gon' stop. We gon' turn it out till it gets too hot. Everybody sing, hey, yo. Tell them turn it out till they can't no more. Let's get this thing shaking like a disco ball. This is your last one and a courtesy call. It's the truth that in love and war, worlds collide and hearts get broken. I wanna live like I know I'm dying. Take up my cross, not be afraid. Is it true what they say? The words are weapons, and if it is, then everybody best stop stepping. 'Cause I got 10 in my pocket that'll bend your lock, and I'm tired of all of these walkers saying, come with me. Wait, it's just about to break. It's more than I try but don't wanna lose. You're so afraid you don't want it to fade. Hear my voice, here it goes, hear it louder than most. Let it go, let it 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not worth it, it's not working. You wanted it to be picture perfect. It's not over, you don't have to throw it away. So scream if you wanna, shout if you need, just let it go. Take it out on me if you need to. Imagine it helps you get control. Take it out on me. Scream if you wanna, shout if you need, just let it go. Take it out on me if you need to. Imagine it helps you get control. It's not worth it, it's not working. You wanted it to be picture perfect. It's not over, you don't have to throw it away. So scream if you wanna, shout if you need, just let it go. Take it out on me if you need to. Imagine it helps you get control. Take it out on me. Scream if you wanna, shout if you need, just let it go. Take it out on me if you need to. Imagine it helps you get control. I'm just the boy inside the man, not exactly who you think I am. Trying to trace my steps back here again. So many times I'm just a speck inside your hand. You came and made me who I am. I remember where it all began so clearly. I feel a million miles away. Still you connect me in your way, and you created me something I would have never seen. When I could only see the floor, you made my window a door. So when they say they don't believe, I hope that they see you and me. After all the lights go down, I'm just the words, you are the sound. A strange type of chemistry. You've become a part of me. And when I sit alone at night, your thoughts burn through me like a fire. You're the only one who knows who I really am. We all wanna be somebody. We just need a taste of who we are. We all wanna be somebody. We're willing to go, but not that far. We're all see-through just like glass, and we can shatter just as fast. That light's been burned out for a while. I still see it every time I pass. It was lost in the corners of my mind, behind a box of reasons why. I never doubted it was there. It just took a little time to find. And I feel a million miles away. Still you connect me in your way, and you created me something I would have never seen. When I could only see the floor, you made my window a door. So when they say they don't believe, I hope that they see you and me. After all the lights go down, I'm just the words, you are the sound. A strange type of chemistry. hold on for a second. If words can be weapons, then what I say can affect it. They're not just words on a record, and I can choose to respect it or choose to infect it. But once it hits the water, it's too late to be selective. Cause one voice is enough to make sleeping giants wake up, to make armies put their hands up and watch whole nations stand up. It's one belief, one spark, one faith and one restart. And we can reboot the whole chart before it all falls apart. So stand up, shout it out, and put them in the air if you like it loud. We only got one shot, so let's make it count. It's a takedown, nobody can stop us now. Stand up, shout it out, sing it loud so the world can't drown us out. And before we depart, let's leave a mark, cause light shines brighter in the dark. When we scream, our lips don't make a sound. We march with feet on solid ground. We walk when no one wants to go on this untraveled road. So hold on for a moment. If we're not scared of opponents, then with what we have we can own it. We'll just plant the seed and keep growing it. And when that light shines in the morning, they'll still be waking up yawning. We'll be smiling like we expected, with sweet victory in one method. Cause one voice is enough to make sleeping giants wake up, to make armies put their hands up and watch whole nations stand up. It's one belief, one spark, one faith and one restart. And we can reboot the whole chart before it all falls apart. So stand up, shout it out, and put them in the air if you like it loud. We only got one shot, so let's make it count. It's a takedown, nobody can stop us now. Stand up, shout it out, sing it loud so the world can't drown us out. And before we depart, let's leave a mark, cause light shines brighter in the dark. When we scream, our lips don't make a sound. We march with feet on solid ground. We walk when no one wants to go on this untraveled road. When we scream, our lips don't make a sound. We march with feet on solid ground. We walk when no one wants to go on this untraveled road. And I can choose to respect it or choose to infect it. But once it hits the water, it's too late to be selective. Cause one voice is enough to make sleeping giants wake up, to make armies put their hands up and watch whole nations stand up. It's one belief, one spark, one faith and one restart. And we can reboot the whole chart before it all falls apart. When we scream, our lips don't make a sound. We march with feet on solid ground. We walk when no one wants to go on this untraveled road. When we scream, our lips don't make a sound. We march with feet on solid ground. We walk when no one wants to go on this untraveled road. On this untraveled road. On this untraveled road.
Let the sparks fly.
There's no such thing as maybe. Burn it like it's faded. No more hesitating. Let the sparks fly, baby. Drive it like you're wasted. You can call me crazy. I'm just tired of waiting. Let the sparks fly, baby. Give me one if it's real and two. If you can feel it, give me three signs that you're awake.
but it's a little long, but it sets the world a little more. I didn't know what I was writing. Yeah, how long is this? This is like 800 words. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. This is like regular scene, right? Damn, I still have the web novel in me, huh? I don't think it's meant to be like that. Okay, it's like what? Half page, huh? 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 2, 3.5 pages, 800 words. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. It's like breaking up the pacing itself for world building, right? So first chapter is always like introduction, world building stuff. So I've set the scene. I've given them a little backstory, so you can tell she's really hot. Our main character, our main bitch over here, right? She's really hot. I don't like putting OCs in, right? I don't like putting self-inserts. I don't like putting OCs in. So I have to create like a living character into this ecosystem. But also someone that, you know, Alistair might like and enjoy as a fantasy, I guess. Like he might appreciate someone who is a little bit more independent, who is a little bit more mummified, who is a little bit more like mature, you know, hot. Rather than cute, I think. I'm not very sure about his type, not gonna lie. So I imagine if he wants to get smothered in between a goth mummy's thighs, this might be the one. I'm just saying, this might be the one. The one who would take charge and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, it's catered for Alistair. I hope he likes it. Man, I don't really know. I don't really know. But I don't think he's the kind of guy who would go for someone who is like Instagram influencer stuff. No. I think he's more real. He's more into like, I like a person because I see them as a person first, you know. I think he's generally a good person, like a good guy, so yeah. He's the gentle parenting type of person as well, so from my knowledge of Alistair himself, right, this might be the best fantasy that I could create for him. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with this. I don't know how this is gonna like is he gonna fall in love with this main character, which I don't know, but we try. Okay, right, chapter 1's done. I'm gonna take like a little break and like get myself wash like the coffee cup, because I'm done with the coffee. My brain is wired right now. Chapter 4 is gonna be long because there's a lot of fan scenes there. I'm gonna estimate like 3 times longer, so it's like what, 3,000 words. So 1,000 here, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 plus 3, 6,000. It's about 10,000 words, right? 10 to 15,000, give or take, plus or minus, somewhere there. Depends on how much I flesh out. So yeah, I am not going into how to extend words. That's probably gonna be like a different stream. I need to prepare examples for that as well, but you can see while I was writing I did edit some stuff. Reason being is because I didn't feel like certain vocabularies fitted into this, you know, like for example grimoires, they're like thick tomes and like really big books, and it looks awkward, right? So according to world building, now we are like hybriding it, so now we have a tablet, a digital tablet, and like digital e-grimoires, like Amazon books and stuff like that. Unfortunately, Amazon banned me, so I'm kind of salty about that. Fuck Amazon. Alright. I have a workaround about that, guys, but I currently don't want to exploit that because I still want to leave myself like the back roads, like that kind of like an avenue for my future PhD stuff and self-published things, because that's kind of important to me, I'm not gonna lie. I need it to be out there before I approach a university with probably a professor that I like. I looked into it, okay? I looked into it, so I kind of like this place in where was it? It was in Denmark. If I remember correctly, it was in Denmark. It's Copenhagen. Copenhagen? Yeah, there was a university there, like University of Copenhagen or something like that. Like it's top 100 universities when it comes to psychology and integrated studies with philosophy, and that is kind of like my aim. So I specialize in not clinical psychology. That's my therapist. That's my mentor. Okay, so my mentor does counseling work. He's very good at it, but I prefer the more scientific side of things. So I like to go through things to like the neural wiring of it. It's not neurology, but it is related in a sense. It's cognitive psychology. Cognitive as in like the brain matter, how it works, right? How the brain neural system connects to your organic thinking and reactions, which is a little bit crossed towards biology. So it's not exactly psychology. It's not exactly psychiatry. It's not just behavioral theory. It's like about the brain. This is the closest that you can be to a brain neurosurgeon. but in the psychology field. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, but it's also bridged towards philosophy because of evolution theory and what was it called, anthropology or something like that. Like the study of how humans actually evolved through like the eras and stuff like that. So your biological evolution creates the thinking pattern and genetics. So if you study gene theory, you come to understand certain things about how we react and stuff like that. That's why MBTI 16 personalities are formed. Carl Jung, okay, so those are cognitive sciences. I want to specialize in that, but with more of a philosophical angle. Does it sound complex? I'm sorry if it does. But anyways, I'm gonna take like a short break. Let me see. Do I need to run another round of Twitch ads? Can I run another round? Okay, you know what? It's kind of like off, so I'm gonna run like a 3-minute ad and then I will come back. So yeah, I'm gonna get water as well. I need to hydrate.
I'm an alien, 'cause I'm not of this world. I have a name, but I've been changed, and now I can't stay the same. And I'm a loser, that means I've been lost before, but now I found it, I'm surrounded. Wish you could hear the way it sounded, like angels singing with a million voices. The end is where we begin. It's crawling back when we run away, 'cause the end is where we begin. We're broken hearts, mend and start to beat again. The end is where we begin. I'm a monster, if that means I'm misunderstood, 'cause it's alive and I can't hide it. The energy is rising, and I'm a traitor, if that means I've turned on myself. I can't deny it, it's like a riot, and I can't keep it quiet. Like angels singing with a million voices. The end is where we begin. It's crawling back when we run away, 'cause the end is where we begin. We're broken hearts, mend and start to beat again. The end is where we begin. Hear me running, hear me running, running. Hear me running, hear me running, running. Hear me running, hear me. The end is where we begin. It's crawling back when we run away, 'cause the end is where we begin. We're broken hearts, mend and start to beat again. The end is where we begin. It's crawling back when we run away, 'cause the end is where
Okay, Edberg is finished, so I will be starting on chapter 2. Hopefully it won't be as long as the first chapter itself. If I cannot finish this today in like another 2 hours or 3 hours or so, I will end it and I will probably do this privately, because today's stream is just basically for me to clip out some ends of it for editing purposes and then put it onto my writing YouTube channel. Yes, so the rest of it will be a surprise if I can't finish it on time. And then Alistair is going to schedule a reading stream for this. So yeah, the main book shouldn't take very long. It's a main book for a reason. So I can, technically, if I had the energy and time and focus, I would be done in like a week, or rather a weekend, like today, tomorrow. So, oh, by the way, guys, tomorrow I will be having a collab. It's been a while because I've been sick, but tomorrow I'll be playing it with Xiao Dar, which is Moon, right? So I'll be playing with Xiao Moon. So we'll be resuming like the collab as per like the arrangement on Sunday. Saturday his time, Sunday my time. So we'll be playing It Takes Two. It will be switching, right? So I'm gonna be the husband. I will be the female husband. He's gonna be the male wife. It's kind of weird, but well, it is what it is. So yeah, we're gonna try switch because I realized, or rather he realized, that the wife character in the game often is the one who is doing the offensive. She does all the shooting, she does all the smacking of things, and then the husband character in the game is always the one laying out, you know, the foundation of like the movement mechanics. Oh god names, I am terrible at driving. I have a license, I'm gonna say, I have a driving license, but because I am not afraid of death, right? So I'm also not afraid to drive, but because I'm not afraid of death and I'm not afraid to drive, it also means I'm not afraid to crash. Just let it sit in. Okay, so if I do drive, it's probably gonna be a one-way street. Which is why I am not allowed to drive in real life. Much to the horror of my friends and all the guys who don't have a driving license. They're like, you, I don't trust your driving license. I would rather drive it without a license myself. I have been well, yeah, let's just say that when I first got my driving license, the reason was because I was going to move overseas, right? I was gonna get married overseas, and obviously that didn't happen. It's my ex-fiance for a reason. Things didn't work out. Now that I think about it, it didn't work out because he wasn't the right person. Anyways, but I took a driving license because I figured out that if I was going to survive in like a different country that didn't have transportation systems that Singapore did, like public transportation systems that were reliable, okay? Like Japan and Singapore, like our public transportation systems do not require us to need a vehicle to get us from place to place. But in other countries, like just across the causeway from our country, look at Malaysia, right? If you don't have a car, you cannot go anywhere. So that's the reason why I took a driving license, and it was a manual driving license because I was told I was gonna be driving things like a pickup truck, a ute, you know, a utility vehicle, a pickup truck. And I was like, damn, that thing doesn't come in auto, right? Like not all models of it come in auto. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to get a manual license. I got the manual license. I don't know how I passed, okay? I am so small that the regular size testing car is like 1,600 liters or something, 1.6 cc, right? They call it something like 1,600 cc. I was like stacked up, 2 cushions up from the bottom, 2 cushions behind me, the chair was all the way tucked into the front, and my left leg still could not fully clutch in. And I keep on spoiling the gearbox thing because I couldn't fully clutch in before I changed the gears, and I couldn't see past like the if I were to hold the steering wheel, right, my line of sight was just slightly above the steering wheel. I can't even see the front of the hood of the car, and I was driving that car without being able to look at the side mirror on the left side and the driver's seat's on the right side in Singapore, right? Can't see the left side. That mirror was for decoration, so whenever I had to overtake someone, I only looked at the rear mirror and prayed nobody was in the blind side. God, those were awful times. I don't know how I passed the second time. I barely passed. So 18 demerit points was like the minimum, or rather the maximum that you can get before you fail. The first time I took the test, I hit the curb on the left side. I couldn't see, you know? I couldn't see. So yeah, and then the second time I did not hit the curb, but I took like 13 or 14 turns to get into a parking lot. Jesus. Like, okay, thank God they didn't really, like rake up more. Like, the more turns you take to get in the parking lot, the more demerit points. Like, thankfully, it wasn't part of the criteria itself, right? You just say, if you can park it, it's fine. Okay, it doesn't matter. Like, okay, after a certain number of turns, like maybe 6 or something, that you try and you can't get it, maybe you get like 2 extra demerit points or something like that. I definitely didn't do that. I was like, yeah, so I did that. I was like, holy shit, But I didn't hit the curb, because the moment you hit the curb, I did it twice. That's why I failed the first time. It was like 24 points or something. It's like each time is like 12 points, and I was like, okay, so I failed because I couldn't get the car parked. Like, the tire hit the curb, and I was like, oh, the sidewalk. So yeah, it's basically me driving a car, but GTA style. That's not gonna fly. Really not gonna fly. So yeah, I have a driving license. I'm not allowed to drive for that very reason. So yes. I don't even know how I got to that topic, but yeah, don't trust me with licenses and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know how Alistair is going to read this. It's so fucking deranged. Brother. Oh yeah, licenses came because of driving from the game tomorrow, huh? Okay, well, you guys are gonna see how I put my real life driving license to the shame tomorrow, if there's any movement related stuff. And tomorrow is gonna be resuming It Takes Two. It's gonna be like the longest arc, if I remember correctly. It's gonna be the longest arc in the entire game, so we're probably about halfway through, right? I did a little bit of research, because they said 16 hours to game completion of main story without like all the questings. But Moon is actually really good at games. I feel like he's okay, maybe I'm just terrible at games, right? But I feel like he's really good at games, like on a level whereby he's able to carry me through like the movements and puzzles and stuff, right? So he figures out things really fast, but we had to repeat it so many times because I kept dying. Every 5 times I die, Moon die once, right? So if we both die at the same time, it's like we have to redo it. The boss battles, they were crazy, right? So I kept on dying, and I was like, Moon, hold on. He was hanging on by like 10% of health. It's thanks to him that we're able to go so far. Like, we cleared it first try, I think. Oh my god, the honored boss, the bees, they were like difficult, right? It was really difficult. I don't know how we did that. It's thanks to Moon. I kept on dying. I don't remember how we cleared it. Anyways. Yeah, I'm so happy that he's very patient. Otherwise, we would not have that collab. I would have gone crazy and I would have died and I'll have like rage quit. But I feel bad because Moon did buy the game. Alright, I have the friends pass, he bought the game. So I was like, okay, I will do my best. I will see it through the end. And then before we can actually resume the Eiffel for like a month or so. So finally, tomorrow we are resuming. Hopefully we'll be okay. I don't have a driving license, but we will see. So yes, anyways, on to chapter 2. Oh, the coffee is getting to me. I'm so hyped right now. I'm so hyped. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Blonde Hingos? Yes, okay, let's try and get in the mood of Sylvia herself and see like, yes, we want a new type, a new archetype of man that didn't really exist before, the submissive kind. In case you can't tell, I have a thing for that. I have a thing for that. I don't know, I just find it cute, really, really cute. Especially if the guy actually, like, treats me like I'm physically superior. I'm not physically superior, unfortunately. It's just fun, it's just really fun to pretend like I can push someone around. If I push anyone around, it's gonna feel like a wall. It's gonna feel like a wall. I can barely carry weights at the gym. Oh my god, I am so proud. I recovered. And then I got to like break the previous record. So previous record was carrying rice. It's like 5 kilograms. Now it's like 6 kilograms. I am 85% recovered from like the illness or whatsoever. Yeah, 85% because I still have severe insomnia. I don't know how that's gonna help, but anyways. And then I broke the record. I was like, yes, my goal at gym is just to get to 10 kilograms. Yes, 10 kilograms. I don't ask for much. I can't carry 10 kilograms yet, guys. I'm working on it, so yes. So imagine if I can't get to 10 kilograms. I want to like shove someone around, physically shove someone around, and be like that dominant person to like sit down, and actually manage to like smack people and cause hurt to them instead of myself. That is my fantasy. So I want to be Sylvia, man. I want to be Sylvia so bad. I want to bully people physically. I can't. Okay. Let's not make this about myself. This is about Alistair, isn't it?
line. Look, listen to my voice. If you're making the choice, tell all the girls and the boys, either scream or rejoice. Let's make that noise. Either move or we will all be destroyed. Move and show me what you can do when you step into the circle and shake like we do. And move when you just can't take it. And move if you just feel like breaking. Can you hear me? Stop. Look, listen to my voice. It was never my choice to feel all alone. This is my home. Back up, you don't know if you've never been here. You've never been to the place inside I face. My fear, it takes everything I am. Move and show me what you can do when you step into the circle and shake like we do. And move when you just can't take it. And move if you just feel like breaking it. Move and show me what you can do when you step into the circle and shake like we do. And move when you just can't take it. And move if you just feel like breaking. Come in, stop, look, listen to my voice. If you're making the choice, tell all the girls and the boys, either scream or rejoice. Let's make that noise. Either move or we will all be destroyed. Let go if you've never been here. You've never been to the place inside I face. My fear, it takes everything I am. So just move and show me what you can do when you step into the circle and shake like we do. And move when you just can't take it. And move if you just feel like breaking it. Move and show me what you can do when you step into the circle and shake like we do. And move when you just can't take it. And move if you just feel like breaking. Come crashing to the floor, and I know there must be more like I've seen this all before. I can't carry this anymore. So move until the storm is over. 'Cause there's a diamond passing over. So let's move until the storm is over. Because I wanna take you away. Move and show me what you can do when you step into the circle and shake like we do. And move when you just can't take it. And move if you just feel like breaking it. Move and show me what you can do when you step into the circle and shake like we do. And move when you just can't take it. And move if you just feel like breaking it. Move and show me what you can do when you step into the circle and shake like we do. And move when you just can't take it. And move if you just feel like breaking it. Move and show me what you can do when you step into the circle and shake like we do. And move when you just can't take it. And move if you just feel like breaking it. I can't erase it anymore. It follows me everywhere I go. It's like a mask that I don't want to wear anymore. I think I found a way to let it go, but it's still too soon to know for sure. I give everything I am, just feel something. When the pressure breaks me, when it's too hard to say, when I feel like I'm at the end of my rope one more time. When the fire burns me, when it's hard to break free, when I feel like I'm standing on the edge of it all this time. I can't suppress it anymore. Here it comes like a fly, just like before. When it it rains, it pours, and I don't want to swim anymore. I think I found a way to let it go. I don't know, I've never felt this way before, but with everything I am, I just let go. Can you feel it? Sweet, when the pressure breaks me, when it's too hard to say, when I feel like I'm at the end of my rope one more time. Sweet, when the fire burns me, when it's hard to break free, when I feel like I'm standing on the edge of it all this time. You make me wanna scream. It's not a joke, I felt as messed up as you do. I felt the feelings you've been feeling, been through the same things you've been through. And I know how hard it is to feel like you're alone. We've all been given a second chance, but the choice is all our own. Scream when the pressure breaks me, when it's too hard to say, when I feel like I'm at the end of my rope one more time. Scream when the fire burns me, when it's hard to break free, when I feel like I'm standing on the edge of it all this time, standing on the edge of it all this time, standing on the edge of it all this time. We've got the fire, who's got the matches? Take a look around at the sea of mass and come on, welcome to the grand ball where the strong run for cover and the weak stand tall. I'm not one to scatter ashes, but there's some things that melt the plastic. Try and dig down deeper if you can. I'm not afraid, I'm not ashamed, I'm not to blame. Welcome to the masquerade. I'm not afraid, I'm not okay. Welcome to the masquerade. Welcome to the masquerade. We got the power, who's got the action? Break it down till there's nothing but a mere fraction. Out of the fire, rise from the ashes. Reject your doubt and release the passion. Let's get on it, believe if you want it. Step into the realm where the real one's floating. Come back, rewind another time on it. Reach out, take that one off, step on it. I'm not one to scatter ashes, but there's some things that melt the plastic. Try and dig down deeper if you can. I'm not afraid, I'm not ashamed, I'm not to blame. Welcome to the masquerade. I'm not ashamed, I'm not just a kid from a cold side street where the power goes out and the cops don't speak. Backpack full of books, but his stomach stayed weak. Trying to study on an empty plate for a dream he'd never meet. His mom was gone, Beetle took her soul. Dad in prison for a crime he didn't own. Raised by a screen in a dial tone. He wrote poems in a notebook to feel less alone. He used to pray at night, said, God, are you real? Then stopped when the silence was all he'd feel. Bullies made fun of the shoes on his feet, so he learned how to fight before he learned how to read. They say toughen up, but he's cracking inside. Can't tell the difference between pain and pride. And the teachers look past like they don't exist. Just another lost kid that the system missed. Cause I'm not broke. Please help me go. I'm all out of road, so help me cope. She was 16, wore long sleeves in July to cover up the scars that she swore were lies. Daddy's little girl with a shattered smile, living like a ghost in her own profile. Posting selfies like she's doing fine, but the comments hit harder than real life. She said love ain't real, it's just pain in disguise. So she started popping pills just to close her eyes. No one saw it coming, no red flags, cause the world moved fast and nobody asked. The door still cracked when she left at last. A journal of dreams now buried in the past. Now we're all flies lost in an empty room, and the silence hits harder than a sonic boom. Cause I'm not broke. Please help me go. I'm all out of road, so help me. Screaming all the way down, further than before. God, please don't let me drown. I know I've been here before, but this time I need a savior, and I hate asking for favors. I'm all out of road, screaming all the way down, further than before. God, please don't let me drown. I know I've been here before, but this time I need a savior, and I hate asking for favors. I'm all out of verse, so help me go. Cause I'm not broke. Please help me go. Don't let go. I feel shook every time I close my eyes and travel into the place in the back of my mind. It's a place where memories hide, my thoughts combine. I see places and thousands of faces all at the same time now. Look, everybody close It's like a train running through my mind again. I can hear those lines again. It takes me away. Never falling in my life like I did when I fell into your arms again. Sound the alarms again. I feel shook every time I close my eyes and travel into the place in the back of my mind. It's a place where memories hide. My thoughts combine. I see places and thousands of faces all at the same time. Now look, everybody close your eyes and travel into the place in the back of your mind. And now run to the place you're afraid to climb. That's where you'll find me. You'll always be 2 steps behind me. I can see things clearer this time. Won't be long now till everything's alright. Take my hand and let's walk into the light. I'm dying here tonight. We will survive. Every time I close my eyes and travel into the place in the back of my mind. It's a place where memories hide. My thoughts combine. I see places and thousands of faces all at the same time. Look, everybody close your eyes and travel into the place in the back of your mind. And now run to the place you're afraid to climb. That's where you find me. You'll always be 2 steps behind me. Shook every time I close my eyes and travel into the place in the back of my mind. It's a place where memories hide. My thoughts combine. I see places and thousands of faces all at the same time. Now look, everybody close your eyes and travel into the place in the back of your mind. And now run to the place you're afraid to climb. That's where you'll find me. You'll always be 2 steps behind me. so far back I was high. I think you took me by surprise. The way you made me feel inside. It was more than just a moment shared. Like something else was in the air. I've never felt this way before. Not since, ever since you walked through that door. I don't wanna complicate you. You seem perfect the way you are. Excuse me, I'm taken by the way that you light my fire. I don't wanna complicate you. You seem perfect the way you are. Excuse me, I'm taken by the way that you light my fire. You kidnapped the night. It's like you walked in on the light. Like an angel in disguise. You made me forget I was tired. And then I walked up to you.
Okay, so like chapter 2 is done. It's almost the same length as chapter 1. Chapter 1 is like 800-ish, so chapter 2 is about 800-ish. I guess this is like my pacing, right? It's about 836. So yes, we have almost 1,600 words so far. Collectively, maybe about 2,000-ish. Not too bad. Alright, and then chapter 3 will be setting it up. So we have the transitions right now very strongly. So this is where the other main character will come in, which is Balester himself. It's gonna be long. Alright, it's gonna be long because we're gonna have to expand this part out here. Give a little bit more character development to Balester himself. Okay, so and please know that this is all fictional. Oh, hello there. Hello, Shadow Legion. I may not be able to think. Now it's like what, 4 p.m. for me. So if I end it in like an hour, it's gonna be 5. I might not be able to get to chapter 4, which is the juicy part and like the main highlight of it. But I will complete the rest of stream if I can't. I'm just going to run ads because I'm gonna take a break. I will take a break after like every chapter. I don't remember how long this was though. But yes, hi. Welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen you before. Okay, I'm just gonna run ads. I'll be right back, guys.
You can't mess with soldiers, no cell big enough to hold us. Came to be a wrecking ball to these boulders. Know this, I ain't scared of these cobras. Over time they tried to just fold us. They thought they could mess with this focus, but there's no room for these locusts. Cause real face belief without borders. Hold this. We yell, but no one hears. We persevere as we approach the line. We march for all those fears that kept us here. This time they're left behind. And like they don't notice, but they're just mad because they can't mold us. Don't you never underestimate soldiers. Cause you can build 1,000 walls, you can't hold us. If we just keep running away, we'll never make it alive. Till we stand and we fight. Aim fire and blow it away. We're storming enemy lines, leaving no one behind. This rock can't hold us, cause the light is showing us. No fear's big enough to own us. We were never meant to fit in these folders. Know this, I ain't scared of these poses. Over time we all face opponents. They thought they could mess with this focus. They forgot the end of the climb's the coldest. Know this, life's a battlefield of moments. Hold this. We yell, but no one hears. We persevere as we approach the line. We march for all those fears that kept us here. This time they're left behind. And like they don't notice, but they're just mad because they can't mold us. Don't you never underestimate soldiers. Cause you can build 1,000 walls, you can't hold us. If we just keep running away, we'll never make it alive. Till we stand
Okay, egg break is over. Welcome back. It's great.
Throw up your rock fist if you're feeling it when I drop this. Show 'em how we blow the spot. Let's make it hot. The shotgun with the body rock till the party stops. It's time to take it up a notch and keep it locked for all the headbangers in the parking lot. Here we come if you're ready or not. No time to talk 'cause we on the clock. Bringing it to your block. Let me show you where we coming from. It don't stop from LA to New York. Show me what you got now. All I know is what it did take to make this. All I am is what it will take to break this. All I know is what it did take to make this. All I am is what it will take to break. Light it up now. Light it up now. Stop running me down, keep running around, I'm faking you out. Won't you just make it what you want it to be? About to find out what you're all about, I'm calling you out. Won't you just set me free? Stop running me down, keep running around, I'm faking you out. Won't you just make it what you want it to be? About to find out what you're all about, I'm calling you out. Won't you just set me free? All I know is what it did take to make this. All I am is what it will take to break this. All I know is what it did take to make this. All I am is what it will take to break. Light it up now. Light it up now. Throw up your rock fist if you're feeling it when I drop this. That's the sound when the rock hits. Oh, never know I might let go. Get ready, get set, throw up your rock fist if you're feeling it when I drop this. That's the sound when the rock hits. Oh, never know I might let go. Get ready, get set. That's the sound when the rock hits. That's the sound when the rock hits. That's the sound when the rock hits. Makes the sound when the rock hits. Throw up your rock fist if you're feeling it when I drop this. I got a bad case, I'm turning it up. It's getting cold in here, so fire it up. I got a bad case, I'm turning it up. It's getting cold in here, so somebody fire it up. Come on and fire it up. I'm in love. And these waterfalls I've seen a million times. They wash away the world that I see and cover up my mind. And I can push the walls away until they're out of sight of mine. But I'm not strong enough to stand alone here in this tide. I don't want to, I'm not trying. I wish it would just go away. And then I see red, I see red, I see red, I see red. These situations make me feel so cold. It's like being replaced by someone I don't know. I can say the words until I've said all I can say. Without you, I'm a fraction of who I'm supposed to be. Read me in and take me under. Crack these walls and let's start again. And then I see red, 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 I see red. We can run, we can hide, we can't live without it. It's the same in us, it takes the blame in us. And we can love, we can hate, we can't live without it. We're not alone, there's more to this. We can run, we can hide, we can't live without it. It's the same in us, it takes the blame in us. And we can love, we can hate, we can't live without it. We're not alone, there's more to this. There's nothing left but the sound of my heart. There's nothing left but the strings on this guitar. Take it all, take the hurt and heartache. Help me start again. Oh, there's nothing left but the sound of my heart. There's nothing left but the strings on this guitar. And take it all, take the hurt and heartache. Help me start again. We can run, we can hide, we can't live without it. It's the same in us, it takes the blame in us. And we can love, we can hate, we can't live without it. We're not alone, there's more to this. We can run, we can hide, we can't live without it. It's the same in us, it takes the blame in us. And we can love, we can hate, we can't live without it. We're not alone, there's more to this. I've been as far as you can go. I've learned a lot and now I know you're never gonna get me on the floor again. I'm prepared to take you to the end. Never gonna play your games again. Bring your whole team and all your friends. But I hope you're listening. Honey, if you want me, but I'll warn you if you ever step to me. control the places that I go. I'm never giving in to you. I can't take another look at me and tell me what you see. All of these cats trying to get under my skin, but they can't step over me. You try to control me, but you can't hold me. You don't own me if you ever step to me. I sometimes wish that I could fly. Hold me tight in your arms tonight. Take a living inside a lie. Alright, I can't count the times I've tried. Stand alone just to lift you high. You're my answer to the question why. I know it's not me. Look inside me. I'm sick of these ways, so sick of these games. It's time to cloud you. Call me a freak, but I don't hear the words you speak. I'm taking control, just letting you know. I sometimes wish that I could fly. Hold me tight in your arms tonight. Take a living inside a lie. Alright, I can't count the times I've tried. Stand alone just to lift you high. You're my answer to the question why. Haunt me if you want me, but I warn you if you ever step to me again. You try to control me, but you can't hold me. You don't own me if you ever step to me. It falls apart from the very start. It falls apart. Falls apart. It falls apart from the very start. It falls apart. Seems like everything I
Oh, hello Jojo. I am currently working on what seems like the last stream chapter due to time constraints. Hello, hello. Getting food at this hour? Oh, okay, that's neither lunch nor dinner, brother. okay. Get food. I'll get it after I end the stream. Yeah, I'll probably get dinner like after I end this chapter. Man, why are you eating before me? That sucks. Okay, I'll let you. I'll leave you to food. Also, what is red attack? Why is this getting bugged? Okay. Let me do the shut up properly. That's not it. What is red attack? There we go. Okay, shout out Gibby. Man, the bot is kinda not actually doing this properly, the job of Wreck attack, huh? It's kinda weird. Okay. Right, let me return to writing.
Let it go to waste, I'm taking all I got and leaving this place. And let it go to waste, I'm taking all I got and leaving this place. Man, be taking up space, I'll take my best shot. I'm picking up the pace and it falls apart from the very start. It falls apart. Seems like everything I touch falls apart. Everything around me falls apart when I walk away from this bottle inside. I feel so hollow, but why? All these feelings I hide from you. I wish this wasn't the case. I wish I wasn't this way. There's so much I need to say to you. And now is the time. Look in my eyes and tell me, am I everything or anything to you? I feel it start to rise up. You're my euphoria. I can't keep living life. I guess that I'm notorious. Spin me around and around and around.
What am I writing? Oh, okay. So like this is for Alistair Napalm, one of the VTuber people whom I collab with sometimes. He reached 500 Twitch followers, right? I did say this like probably half a year ago, maybe like last year or something like that. I was like, if you do reach 500, back then he was like 300 something, right? I said, if you do reach 500, let me know, then I will write. And we were talking in chat, right, with all the other people who we usually collab with, Daisy Side and stuff. And then somehow, yo, music is louder than me. Okay, chatto matte. Wait. Okay, is it better right now? Okay, is it better right now? So like I was saying, this book is for Alistair Napalm. He reached 500 followers on Twitch, right? And I made this thing, like this bet, probably like half a year, maybe last year or something. And so he recently hit the 500 followers on Twitch goal. He was like 300 plus previously, right? I don't remember how it is, but I feel like back then, Alistair, me, Banyanya, and like Daisy, or like a couple of people, right, were discussing things. And somehow it led to being like an isekai title, some kind of meme. And then I said like, you know, I would totally write this as a meme book. Right, for him, like if he reached the goal. And he did reach the goal, so right now I'm just paying back the favors to congratulate him. So this book that I'm writing is actually for Alistair Napalm. It's for him to celebrate his 500 Twitch followers, and basically the title is like the content itself, you know. So it's not the isekai by a truck thing. Amazon banned me, so the only place that you can read all those meme books are gonna be on Ko-Fi from now on. But anyways, this one is written for Alistair specifically, so you won't be able to find it anywhere else. I'm gonna like convert this to a PDF. It's not for sale. It's for him, like, you know, to give back to his viewers and all. Like, thank you for like the 500 Twitch followers. Like, he worked hard, you know. I like to do stuff like that. I like to make little bets and milestones with people. I didn't really think that he was gonna hit it though, to be honest, but he worked really hard to get there. He did like a donathon thingy or like a subathon or something like that, like for like a follower thing. So yep, this happened to be one of the things that came out in conversation. He screenshot that, right? And he pinned it somewhere, and then he finally hit it, and everybody was celebrating like, oh, we're gonna finally have this fanfiction thing of Alistair himself. I'm like, okay, you know what, I can do this. So I did this, so I'm doing this right now. But I also took the chance to make a comeback because it's been a while since I did like the writing course for the web novel stuff. If you guys remember, I am a writer, yes. So I am a writer before I am a streamer and a VTuber. So this is like my comeback thing, because remember my Amazon got terminated and they didn't tell me why it was terminated. They just said that I was manipulating the market. I finally had sales, you know. I finally was making money. I was about to cash out too. I was like 80 or 90 and they cashed it out at 100 USD, right? So I was almost there with the region as well. And then they decided to terminate my account to avoid giving me payouts or something, called it market manipulation. And then I tried to appeal and they said no appeal. They banned me completely. And then remember I had Coffee Crate and I was going to do like the selling of my coffee on Amazon itself as well. So that didn't go too well. And I was kind of bummed because part of the writing course actually was like converting your web novels and web fictions into self-publishing route, which is technically the only self-publishing route that I've done so far is Amazon. I did it before even I went to web novel, okay? I did that first, and then I went web novel. But long before that I was like in fanfiction and all that. So I've been writing for a while, but then the termination came like 2 days before the newest book was going to be published. I had Tucci give me like the art and stuff like that. I was rushing through all of these, and then it happened. So I had self-doubts, right? So I was asking myself, am I still qualified to be all the people's web novel writing mentor. Like I'm the only web novel writing mentor that exists, you know. Like the previous course that are up on the website that I used to host on Wix still exists. It's there. It's just no longer, you know, maintained, so it's no longer updated. So I want to redo the entire thing, but then now I have self-doubts, right? Because previously I wrote about all the conversion and stuff like that, and then I get terminated for no particular reason. I tried to appeal, they don't give me a reason, they just give me a link, they say, these are the rules, you violated it, there is no appeal. I'm just like, you terminated me with no like particular reason and anything just because I was selling, just because I was getting sales. Like, what the fuck, you know? And just so you know, right, it is not illegal, okay? It is supposedly not illegal for writers to put their own websites and stuff, especially when you're self-published, right? You have your websites, you have your email, your contacts. Those things are contents in a book that any self-published writer would put in, you know, because that's how it works, right? You self-publish this. Like, if that's gonna be the reason of ban for me, I think that's very unreasonable, you know. So I made a whole thread on this on Twitter, like back then when it happened. I'm so pissed, okay? I am so okay, in any case, yep. So and then I stopped writing fiction for a while, so I completed Nuren's Princess on web novel, and that is going to be the last web novel that I'm going to write. I have been on web novel for like what, 6 years, 7 years, somewhere there. It's like pretty long, okay, pretty long, guys. I've been on web, like fan fiction for even longer. They scouted me from Wattpad, by the way. I was poached by web novel and all the other web fictions from Wattpad because I was doing well, okay, and then they ruined me completely, and then Amazon screwed me over. So yeah, in any case, I'm done with fiction in a sense, so I am moving out of self-publishing because they are kind of toxic. And in case because you just joined, right? So I did mention earlier in the stream, I am transitioning to script writing, or rather screenwriting, you know, the ones that they write the stories and scripts for like actors and movies and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm gonna have to teach myself how, because there isn't really a lot of things that are out there, but I do have Scrivener and I kind of found the basics, so we are going to learn this by ourselves again. It's probably time. It's like more than 10 years since I've been doing fiction in itself, right? And I will be on Medium, so I will be doing a little bit more academic stuff, like academia stuff, because in preparation for, say, my master's or my PhD, I still kind of want to do it. I don't know if I should do it, but okay, let's say if I sell away Coffee Create the business, because it's kind of fucked right now. Not my management skills, right? So the system fucked me over, and certain countries that are very interested in warmongering are also fucking things over. So it's a terrible time for this. I don't think I'll be able to expand it or make it work without pouring in more capital to sustain it. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually develop a system with like a trajectory for anybody who wants to take over with deeper pockets and actually a passion to run this. Okay, I'm not going to run this for long. I want to turn over, right, as much as possible to recover my funds so that I can do my masters, because I spent the part of money that I saved up for masters, right, into doing the coffee business, and I think it's not taking off. So practically a logical choice would be to recover as much as possible so that I can expedite without taking a loan to do my masters first, and then consider if I want to do a PhD after. So that's the plan. But I do need time as well before I do a PhD, because you have to write like a topic research thing and propose it to the university and the professor that you want to work with during a PhD program, right? Ignoring scholarships themselves. So I have like something in mind. But the world situation is kind of crazy right now. I'm just gonna say. So I wanted to go to like Denmark, Copenhagen, right? There is a particular professor in there that I wish to work with because of integrated philosophy and psychological studies. But I'm not doing clinical psychology. I'm doing like cognitive psychology, like more towards neurology and the fiction side, which is why I'm studying so much right now. In case you guys can't tell, I'm doing a lot of studying. I need to revise all that. I need to learn higher math and calculus because I need to have the empirical theories, right? Like the mathematical formulation. I might need to do Python, which is programming. I don't know how to program, guys, but because there is going to be statistical reporting and data logging, I might have to get to that eventually. Yeah, so these things will take time. It's not gonna happen like next year. It's probably gonna happen span out in like a couple of years if things go well, right? If things go well. So for now it's just a dream. So for now, what I can do is during the weekend I can write this nonsense for Lester. So think of it more as a fan service, and the fan service is in chapter 4. Look at this. Ta-da! So basically, I did this stream because I want to clip the front part that I did earlier as a masterclass. Come back for my YouTube channel and probably on Medium and stuff like that. I might try to monetize it. Like, I'll leave the concepts here free for people, right? But I will be making like the practical side of it on Ko-Fi for people who need like coaching, more examples and stuff like that. Think of it like Udemy, you know? Udemy, except the practical part is behind paid walls, but the theoretical part and explanation is free for all. So yeah, it's a guided coaching. Think of it like you can have the textbook for free, but if you need tuition, like a teacher to hold your hand and teach you through these things, and then there's like a channel for that on Ko-Fi. So that's what I'm gonna be doing moving forward. I think I don't really know, man. God, I'm so tired. I've been sick for like a month and a half or something like this cause of like, I feel like that's the new variant COVID, right? And then the side effects come with insomnia. I haven't been sleeping well. I've been sleeping like 3 hours every night and then waking up in the middle of the night like dry vomiting. I don't really know why. So I've been taking antihistamines before I sleep, and they do help a little bit. Like, I do not wake up dry vomiting, but I still do wake up. I'm extremely exhausted. So yes, that's what I'm doing right now. Tomorrow I'll be having my collab. Like, I want to do this collab so bad, like resume the collab of It Takes Two with Moon, you know. My health hasn't been great, and then yeah, it's been at least, I don't know, like probably 2 months, at least 1 month, right? Probably 2 months since we last did it. But man, I just feel so bad because I want to do a lot of things, right? My health just disagrees with me all the damn time. Thank you. But yeah, I'm back now, so it's okay. We're good. We're okay. So I hope that answers. Like, that's what we're doing right now. Does it make sense? I'm like 10 minutes away to before. Oh god, can I actually finish this in 10 minutes? No, I cannot. Haha, no, I cannot. It's okay. Yeah. So, man, the IRL updates can be kind of crazy, but it's just how it is. It's just how it is, man. I wish it wasn't this way, but it is this way. So what can I do, man? Life dealt me a shitty card, like shitty hand of cards. So I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna win this game by cheating life. I'm not gonna play by the rules. I'm gonna make it my own. But yeah, I don't know the PhD part, but the masters part, I am rather keen. I'm rather tempted. But I will do the self-studying first, right? Like, you don't wait for schools to teach you. You teach yourself first, and then you go to school and then you question the teachers for things that you don't understand, because that's their job, right? That's their job. I know there are a couple of people, like PhD professors. Well, last time I went to take that, the PhD professors were dumber than the ones who had a master degree who were teaching us part-time lectures. Oh my gosh, she's so fucking dumb. I don't know how she got a PhD, man. Like, she probably paid money for it and cheated or something, because she's so stupid. Okay, I'm not supposed to say this, yeah, but I definitely left a public review about the entire thing, naming her specifically, because she really just sucks, you know. She just fucking sucks. And the best part, she gave me a failing grade because I pointed out how much her PowerPoints were wrong, her curriculum was off, everything in there was kind of sloppy. She just copied it from the previous lecture and she didn't do anything to it, and she expected us to be like, oh yeah, you're so smart, yes, this is very helpful. Not me, bitch. And then I got marked down for a grade, you know, just because her pride got wounded when I spoke the truth. I just didn't give a shit about the academy. I told the academy, I was like, you guys gotta fix your problems, you know. You wanna hire these kind of clowns? Don't charge me extra for that. She was gone for like the lecture for 30 minutes because of her family affairs when it was lecture day. Okay, so true, it may be work from home, right? But don't bring your home to work, you know what I mean? It's fucking unprofessional. So anyways, yeah, so man, why do I do this? I don't know why I do this. I should stop talking because I have a chapter to finish before dinner. I'm not exactly hungry or anything, but it's good to finish things. I will leave chapter 4 and 5, which are the juicy ones, to myself. I'll do it after the stream ends because it's going on for quite some time. My back hurts, guys. I'm not the kind of person who can sit on a desk like 16 hours a day anymore. I'm getting old. Okay, I'm getting old.
You could come and take it all without hurting me. That was your biggest mistake. Should've known when you saw me break. Alone in my room, I sit and pray that the walls stop closing in. And every breath I take, a step further away from the end of me. Out of control, not knowing which way to go. Feeling left out in the cold. I'm spinning out of control, not knowing which way to go. Feeling left out in the cold. I just wanna let go of it all and climb up over the wall. I need some help to get back on my feet. If you're out there, come just wanna let go of it all and climb up over the wall. I need some help to get back on my feet. If you're out there, cover me. Every time I call you on the phone, I listen to a ring but no one's home. I can't explain the energy that you give me when I'm left here alone. And every time I pass you on the street, you won't even turn and look at me. I never would have thought that things could go this far, but please believe me, I'll pick you up, won't let you fall. I'll build your trust and it won't hurt at all. Your only drug will let you down. I'm through now, so take me and blow me away. When I feel numb, I'll let you know I won't become what I was before. You cannot kill what's not your creation. This is the art of breaking. I think I might just lose my mind if I have to watch this one more time. I can't explain how many times I've stayed for you when you were on my mind. And no one ever said that it was easy to come out of the cold and stop your bleeding. I never would have thought that things could go this far, but please believe me, I'll pick you up, won't let you fall. I'll build your trust and it won't hurt at all. Your only drug will let you down. I'm through now, so take me and blow me away. When I feel numb, I'll let you know.
Oh, okay.
Become what I was before. conversation moving further from where she's going without even knowing. Now the vibrations in the floor are getting closer to the door. And is this the way you let your problems drift away too? I climb so high, it blows me away sometimes. See through my holes into this place I call my own. And this time I'll try. It's in the air tonight. Sleep tonight, no more crying, 'cause I've got you on my side. Don't want you to be anything at all. I just want you to say you love me. I don't care, just stop living like this. I don't wanna be anything at all. I just want you to see who I am and stop the violence. No more silence. From in the middle of the room, she hears the conversation moving further from where she's going without even knowing. Now the vibrations in the floor are getting closer to the door. And is this the way you let your problems drift away too? I climb so high, it blows me away sometimes. See through my holes into this place I call my own. And this time I'll try. It's in the air tonight. Sleep tonight, no more crying, 'cause I've got you on my side. Don't want you to be anything at all. I just want you to say you love me. I don't care, just stop living like this. I don't wanna be anything at all. I just want you to see who I am and stop the violence. No more silence. I'm gonna show you I'm alive, breathing clearly for the first time. Hold me in your arms, take me to the place where you are. I needed time to clear my mind. Keeping ballast on this line was impossible before I met you. I climb so high, it blows me away sometimes. Sleep tonight, no more crying, 'cause I've got you on my side. I don't want you to be anything at all. I just want you to say you love me. I don't care, just stop living like this. I don't wanna be anything at all. I just want you to see who I am and stop the violence. No more silence. I'll shout from the top of the rooftop singing. I'm not afraid of the bed I lay in. Listen to the sounds of the voices ringing. I can't deny it. No more silence. Shout from the top of the rooftop singing. We're not afraid of the bed we lay in. Listen to the sounds of the voices ringing. I can't deny it. No more silence. No one knows the walls that we've climbed, the knots we've untied, the shots that we fired. Have a lot of friends who want what we've made, but don't know the pain, the beasts that we've slain. There's a lot of sharks that swim in these waters. They came for your sons, they came for your daughters. You got a lot of heat, just makes it hotter. The blood in this water's making us stronger. No one knows the walls that we've climbed, the knots we've untied, the shots that we've fired. Have a lot of friends who want what we've made, but don't know the pain, the beasts that we've slain. We fight, we bleed, we live, we breathe, we fall beneath, incomplete. We rise, we fall, we chase it all, we raise it up. Feel like I'm staring at the sun, but I feel no pain. Got a feeling in my heart that I can't explain. These walls I've built, they all fall down for you. And it's a rush like the river that runs through me. I get caught in your tide like I can't believe. You hold me like an open fire in you. And my heart beats loud like 1,000 drums. Feel alive like the city where I come.
You streaming? Hi. The chapter is kinda long, so I wanna just finish this verse before I log off. Yeah, you don't have to stay though, cause it's going to be. I'm like probably only 30% of this chapter right now. I might run through another hour to finish this. It is long. Okay, so far I have written probably 1,000. So far I've written about 859. Yeah, it is only a third, which means it might be about 1,008, 2,000-ish, 2,000 plus. This chapter alone is gonna be a full-length chapter. Yeah. Don't forget to grab dinner. Okay, that is the aim, right? The aim is to end it before I get dinner. But the thing is, I don't know when it's gonna happen, and I don't want to write halfway and then forget what I was doing before that. So I want to just complete this with like the flow. I have coffee in my veins. I'll be fine for like a couple more hours until I starve and be like, oh, I have to eat right now. Yeah, so you guys don't forget to get dinner yourselves. Yeah, I'm fine. I have water. I don't have water. Okay, you know what? You know what? Thanks for reminding. I am actually going to run and get water. I'm gonna run ads. I'm gonna get water, and then I'll continue this. And then I hope I don't get sidetracked working. And then yeah, I have to get dinner soon. Yeah, like give me an hour. If I'm not done in an hour and a half and I'm still streaming, you can yell at me then. Okay, I'm gonna run ads. I am actually gonna get water. Okay, be right back, guys.
You set me on fire. You set me on fire. You set me on fire. And you set me on fire. You set me on fire. Burn me with your love so bright. Burn me like an open fire. Burn me with your love so bright. So I can feel you, I can feel you. Burn me with your love so bright. Burn me like an open fire. Burn me with your love so bright. So I can feel you, I can feel you. Burn me with your love so bright. Burn me like an open fire. Burn me with your love so bright. So I can feel you, I can feel you. Set me on fire. Open your mind, don't let it slip and take you on a midnight ride that's wicked. Everyone around it comes here feeling fed up with the way their wounds are healing. Take me to a place where doors are open, a lovely little place where no one's broken. Welcome to the world that no one's listening. Just wanna break out and escape this prison. Bring me to life, bring them into me. It's taken me my whole life to realize all the things I've never seen. Bring me
Okay. はい。じゃあ、続けましょうか。I have my water right now. I didn't know how much my back was hurting until I got it. I was like, something cracked. I was like, that's okay. Okay, let me just say this. If 1.5 hours time and I'm still not done with streaming, please yell at me, okay? Please yell at me to get off the internet and like get food, because I might actually starve accidentally, not by choice, but by flow, by like default. Like 2000s emo music. Yo, me too. You know what? Me too. I'm just so glad Linkin Park and Evanescence, they came back. They made new albums and everything, and I was like, oh, if they have a concert in Singapore, I need to go. Like One Ok Rock was here on my birthday, guys. And then I missed it because I was like, I have work tomorrow, and they were like on a Sunday, and I was like, I needed to go to work, and I don't have like transportation back home, and I'm just gonna be stranded there with everybody else when the public system is like down after the concert ends. Like, I am not gonna do that. I'm too old for that shit, right? Normally, right? If I were younger, I would have just camped there, sleep outside, like just go 24 hours and not go to sleep and stuff. Yeah, normally I would have done that, but like now that I'm older and I have responsibilities, I can't. Right? I just can't. That sucks. 2000 musics, they are the best in the, okay, believe it or not, I'm gonna drop this. Canon Law, right? So IRL Me has 2000 hair as well. Radiohead person? Radiohead? Okay. Yeah, I'm just like going through different bands. This one is 1000 Foot Crutch right now. Is it? Yeah, it is. It's on like that band rotation. Maybe we can do Radiohead like another time if I actually host one of these things. Yeah, it's possible. It's just not today, right? So I actually have 2000 hairs, right? I'm gonna drop it, right? So the in fashion is wolf cut. Right? I had that couple years ago, before even COVID. Yes, I had like layered wolf cut. So back then it wasn't called wolf cut, it was something else. They call it like Asian mullet and stuff, but it was asymmetrical. I'm gonna hit to it now. Oh, okay, sure, no problem. Please sleep well. See you again. When I do see you again, you sleep well. Thank you so much for dropping by. Right, so my hair is like 2000s. I went back in time. I didn't do the Asian mullet. I didn't do the wolf cut. I used to be fully blonde. Like before that with my ex-fiance and stuff. I used to be fully blonde. I used to have dyed hair and everything. And like my peak was digital perm, right? Korean curls, purple highlights. My hair was super damaged, so I grew it out entirely. I chopped it off, and then last year or something, like maybe 2 years ago, something like that. So I chopped my hair off completely, right? I had like the shaven, like, at the back of my neck, right? It was kind of like shaved. So I had this really, really guy stuff. And now I grew it out so much that it's like, okay, I'm gonna say this. You're gonna feel really old, right? Scene Kids. Do you remember emo Scene Kids? Like the scene hair? Yeah, I have that hairstyle. I don't have the colors. I have that hairstyle. I was thinking if I want to do those streak blonde blocks, like those really rough highlight type bleach. We call it beach bleach. Beach blonde. Yeah, that kind of rough highlight streaks. I wanted that in my hair with this cut. And I look really, really cool right now. I look like a fucking handsome high school girl prince, like my hair is just so fluffy right now. It's amazing. Okay, but I am in the era. Okay, I even changed like some of my wardrobe. Hello, Cookie is here. Steals your heart. You can have it. It's okay. Currently, nobody wants my heart right now. You can have it. Hello, Cookie. It's morning for you, isn't it? Good morning, princess. Okay, so like my hair right now is 2000s as well. Can you imagine that? Without the color, it's 2000s. All right. I am so old. I'm bringing it back. Okay, now I don't look old. The problem is I don't look old. The insides are crumbling, but I don't look old, so I can still pull off this hair. Hey, trust me. And the best part is I'm not the only one. So I recently got like I'm into like dancer fashion right now. Hip hop street trend dancer aesthetics. Yeah, I got myself a couple of those, like really baggy cargo pants and like baggy hoodies and tees, like dancer tees and stuff like that. Yeah, I got those. I got those. I'm not just in my sports area anymore. I'm not just with yoga pants and like dry fit, like dry fit tees. Like I am into dancer era. I have those clothes, and oh my god, let me tell you, the hair with those kind of dancer clothes, I am so handsome. I am so handsome, guys. Don't doubt me. I look like this, but I'm fucking handsome. Okay, Cookie. Bipolar ex-wife always have a place in my heart. Do you divorce me again? No, I'm so sorry, Cookie. Yeah, we let's not air our domestic grievances, yeah. You guys are so confused. Oh, let me just give a shout out. Hello, ex-wife. Man, Cookie. Thank you for dropping by. Y'all don't have to stay that long, you know. I'm just here to like do my work and stuff. Yeah, give a shout out to Cookie. Remember to just check out her channel because she's also a voice actor. She does like ASMR stuff on YouTube. She's really cool. She's my ex-wife for a reason. I don't just marry anybody randomly, you know. I got kind of high standards. You're gonna watch me thoroughly? Please don't. Okay. Oh shit, I've been talking for way too long. Now I only have 1 hour and 10 minutes before you guys can yell at me to get off the internet. No. I talk too much. Do not distract me. I have work to do. I need to finish this work and stuff. Where am I? I don't remember. God, water came back, talk too much now. I forgot what I was doing. I'm not wanting to disappoint who and what. Ugh. Guys, this is why I don't like to stream my work, yeah, because whenever I stream and I work and then you guys are here, I'm like, oh hi guys, and then suddenly I can't like get back to the flow. And okay, please understand that distraction beam chat is too powerful. I've given you guys too much power, okay? There's a reason why I am an ambivert, right? I do not speak more than 3 sentences a day unless I'm spoken to on regular days, but on stream, I have priority with chat. That's why I often tell chat to shut up. Remember? Okay, there's a reason for that. And then I don't often do all these things because every time I do this, people are like, oh hi, and I just feel bad to ignore you guys now because I do know you guys personally. If it's just random chat, it's okay. But oh, you guys are here, and I know I'm so sorry. I haven't streamed in a long time. You guys haven't talked to me in like ages. I miss you guys too, but I have a lot of work to do. I miss you guys too, but the bill's not gonna pay itself. I miss you guys. I really do. I just leave me alone. Leave me alone. But yes, thank you. I will shut up now. Finally recovered, and this is what happens. I know I love you guys too, platonically, but please let me do what I have to do. I only have 1 hour and 5 minutes, 1 hour and 9 minutes left before I get shouted at to get off the internet. I need to take this full chance to work. God, must work. Must nuke Disney. No, please don't nuke me. Please don't nuke me. Okay, I have been nuked for a month and a half now from sickness. Okay, I just barely returned, guys. Tomorrow I have a collab. Aren't you happy for me? I recovered against all odds. You know, it was difficult, guys. Do not nuke me. I cannot do this. 3 out of 5 months I've been sick this year. Enough. My insomnia is taking me out too. I have coffee to like suppress the insomnia, but it's not gonna help. I'm gonna crash again. Watch me in 2 weeks time. I get sick again. Fuck, you will regret nuking me. You are responsible for that. If I die, know that it's Cephalonia who did it, okay? I'm gonna blame you in advance. If I die, it's your fault. That just gave a fan for my air in my face. That's good. Okay, like that's the best thing that you can afford without an air conditioner in Germany. That's amazing. Abuse it. Fresh air to your face. Abuse it. You deserve that, queen. Let's go. I'll get it here to take the honor. Don't kill me off, guys. What are you guys like doing this? I don't even kill my characters that casually. Why are you killing the streamer so casually? Why are you guys doing this to me? You hate me. You don't want me to be alive. Fuck. What do you guys not want to be alive? I'm doing my best to survive. Okay, I don't want to die too early. Man, you guys suck. You guys suck. We are here in the honor of. Okay, you know what? If you are gonna send me off, make sure I have a proper burial. Okay, make sure I have a proper water burial. The kind where you stick my body in the middle of the ocean so that the fishes can eat me, and not the kind that you burn me in fire, cremate me into ashes, and then scatter in the ocean. That's cheating. Okay, I want to be eaten by fishes. Just remember that. just read what I'm writing. Do not, Cutie. Why are you doing that? Grandpa turned into a cute boy. No, it's an uncle. Okay, no, it's not Oji. It's not Oji-san. It's Oji-san. No, Oji-san is uncle. Okay, uncle. We're doing middle age. We're not doing gray strict salt and pepper. Okay, we're doing middle age, hot. DILF, okay, that so and this person is actually a streamer. Oh my god, if you wanna I could introduce you. Princess, are you interested? I could. He's a real person. This story is written for him because he had 500 followers on Twitch. So yeah, and he likes goth mummies, so I wrote a goth mummy character for him. And he's going to be a cat boy now. So yeah, he's an uncle cat boy. It's a little bit hard to. I have 1 hour and 5 minutes. Stop. I haven't written a single word. Stop. Yeah, I have to reread this. I forgot my train of thoughts. This is why I should not work on stream. Every time I work on stream, I don't get any work done. Don't gonna introduce me, girl. When you're as hot as me, you let them come to you. Okay, you have a point. It's okay. Yep. Okay, we get it. We'll be fine. Lock in. I wanna lock in, guys. Stop talking to me. Okay, you know what? Even better. Yeah, you can't talk to me if I'm not present. I'm gonna look in my own stream. Watch. Power move. Okay, I'm gonna look, guys. Don't talk to me. I need to lock in. 1 hour and 5 more minutes. I can't. I'm gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. Okay, hold. I'm not gonna make it. I got this. I don't got this. What am I doing? Eye candy. Oh yeah, munch. Breathe. Ignore chat.
They say that you created all. My voice must sound so small in between heaven's walls. But they said you knew my name, and they say that your love has no end, and that you can heal the past with just one touch of your hand. Does it matter if I was to blame? I've been trying to erase myself by trying to be someone else. They say there's no hope for me. I guess this must be hell. Make me feel so empty. Their words, they cut like knives. You tell me to forgive them. I'm not sure I'll survive. I'm not sure this is a good time, or even if you're home. It's a long, long way from your throne. But can you meet me in my room? A place where I feel safe. Don't have to run away, and I can just be me. Can you meet me in my room? A place where I feel strong, a place where I belong, and I can call my own. I'll wait for you. They say you're always there, you never leave, even when we don't believe. And that sounds like love to me. I know I couldn't do the same. And they said that you can see my heart, then you already know I'm falling apart. That's why I hide here in the Can you meet me in my room? A place where I feel safe.
Why why are you writing my story for me, Cookie? Okay, you know what? Yuri and GL, I amen to that. Okay, I won't yuck on your yum and stuff like that. I understand the appeal of it. Happy Pride Month, but also, Cookie, why? Okay, you know what? Why? As Sylvia pushed him against the wall, the impact of altercation, I don't know how to pronounce that, caused a small oomph out of Ochi-san. She got up close to his face, lips brushing against each other. You are far away from home, love. Oh my god, madam, says the divine and absolutely stunning woman, causing Oji-san to gasp and lose his breath for a moment. Reactionary to his actions, Sylvia locked her lips against his for a passionate and all-consuming kiss, causing small whimpers from Oji-san. You do know that this is like a... Okay, you know what? That's not an extremely bad idea, but I wanna keep this PG-13 to this part, you know? That's like foreplay over here. Foreplay, okay? That's like a main course that you are writing. Holy Jesus Christ. Oh god, Grungus is here too. Oh shit. Hi Grungus. Happy Pride Month. Currently playing Crown Palace. Good for you. Hi Grungus. Shout out to Grungus. Can you add Grungus? No, I'm not gonna add Grungus in here. This is not your story. You are not the main character. This is Alaston Napalm's 500 Twitch followers story. He's the main character. Why are you here? Why are you here, Grungus? Everyone follow me, I'm famous. Congratulations, Grungus. I don't even know if you stream, Grungus. What the heck? Your computer is still fucking broken and your internet is all the way out in like the bush of Australia. Like it doesn't even function. It doesn't even load DVD. You can't even download DVD. Like, come on. Get better internet, get better computer, get better, Grungus. Also, you guys are distracting me. I have 1 hour left. Have I actually made any progress? Okay, I've made some progress. Okay, I can afford a little bit. Okay, let me see. I've been reading fanfiction books for 2-3 years every day now. You can write smart. Obviously, man. Cookie the queen. Also exposed. Grungus has no PC. Hasn't played games in weeks. Is I have played Minion Rush? You know it's bad when you go back to the classics, huh? I'm gonna leave you guys there. What is happening, guys? Let me work. Barely an hour in. Oh my god, I have barely an hour left. I'm nowhere near close to ending this scene. Help. God help me. I need biological lessons. Is it called pectoral muscles? Pectoral. Anterior chest wall. I need biological lessons. Pectoralis major. Okay, yeah. I'm looking at the correct thing. Okay, we need pectoral muscles.
Get ready for the smackdown. SmackDown.
Juggling and
React when you're
juggling.
putting your back now. 'Cause there's no turning back when you're facing the SmackDown. Come on, let's kick it. Let's all get wicked. Put your hands in the sky for a one-way ticket. Come on! Come on, everybody, gonna start this party. If we turn it to 11, then we can't go wrong. Ow! And I'm not trying to tell you there won't be a longer road. When it all comes down, you'll know just what to do. We're gonna burn this down and keep on running till my time here is through. 'Cause when it all comes down, I know just what to do. Get ready for the SmackDown. Get ready for the SmackDown. How you gonna react when you're putting your back now? 'Cause there's no turning back when you're facing the SmackDown. Come on, let's rip it. Let's push that limit. If you don't feel pain, then you can't be with it. Come on! They said I wouldn't be nothing. I said stop fronting, put the pedal to the metal, 'cause the storm is coming. Ow! Ow! And I'm not trying to tell you there won't be a longer road. When it all comes down, you'll know just what to do. We're gonna burn this down and keep on running till my time here is through. 'Cause when it all comes down, I know just what to do. Come on, let's kick it. Let's all get wicked. Put your hands in the sky for a one-way ticket. Come on, everybody, gonna start this party. If we turn it to 11, then we can't go wrong. Come on, let's rip it. Let's push that limit. If you don't feel pain, then you can't be feeling. I wouldn't be nothing. I said stop running, put the pedal to the metal, 'cause the storm is coming. Get ready for the SmackDown. Get ready for the SmackDown. How you gonna react when you're putting your back now? 'Cause there's no turning back when you're facing the SmackDown. Touch the ceiling, act like you really gonna rock it till the wheels The pressure's on me to circulate, mesmerized and taken in. I'm moving slow so it resonates. It's time to rest, not to sleep away. My thoughts alone try to complicate. I'll do my best to seek you out and be myself and not impersonate. I tried so hard to not walk away, and when things don't go my way, I still carry on and on just the same. I've always been strong, but can't make this happen, 'cause I need to breathe. I wanna breathe you in, the fear of becoming. I'm so tired of running, 'cause I need to breathe. I wanna breathe you in, I wanna breathe you in. I'm going in, so cover me. Your compass will help me turn the page. The laughing stock I'll never be, because I won't let them take me. I tried so hard to not walk away, and when things don't go my way, I still carry on and on just the same. I've always been strong, but can't make this happen, 'cause I need to breathe. I wanna breathe you in.
Hello, Jojo. I assume that you finished eating dinner? Okay, that's very fast. I have 45 more minutes or so before I get chased off the internet, regardless of whether I finish this chapter. But yeah, mala hot pot is a weird feeling. Okay, you know what? It depends on what kind of mala hot pot that you're talking about. Okay, if it's like the self-heating ones, yeah, that's gonna be a little bit weird. But if it's like the ones they make at the restaurant for you, now that one is actually good. Like, okay, it depends, right? But you can't go wrong with like the people who make it, right? But the ones instant mala hot pot, that's gonna be a little bit weird. Especially the ones they have like pre-made seasoning packets. That's, I don't know, it's just different from the ones that they make fresh, you know, the ones that they cook. Just kind of weird. I don't eat mala though. I can't take spice, unfortunately. But I hope it was good kind of weird. Make your own. すごいね. You're impressive. I can't cook for shit. Okay, instant stuff is good enough. You added more beef. I mean, you're gonna need protein. Yeah, extra protein somewhere, you know. Like, no hate to that. I don't know how much it changes it, but I feel like it won't be bad, right? Surely it can't taste bad. No, extra stuff can't taste bad. You're adding like ingredients, so you're not removing stuff. It can't taste bad.
Gonna get this party started.
Polish off or polish away? Polish off. It's polish off, not polish away. It's been a while since I advanced English. I have to check my prepositions, like my what is that? Conjunct verbs? What is that thing called? Phrasal verbs, sorry. It's been a while since I English teacher. Phrasal verbs, polished away and polished off. And polish away is to remove or eliminate something by rubbing or buffing or smoothing. That's not what I want. I meant to eat, to finish, to consume. So it's polish off, which is an informal phrasal verb that means to finish, consume, or eliminate something quickly and completely. This is what I want. So I have to double check with Google, just cause I'm a professional. My Grammarly is not working, huh? Okay, you know what? We'll do the editing off stream. I can't be arsed. It's like, why is it missing? Where's my widget? Grammarly is not working. Okay. That's fine. You see, what do you mean? Weird feeling I was talking about is the physical pain from spiciness, but also mental healing with the minty spiciness of Sichuan peppercorns. I guess okay, I can't relate. I'm sorry, I can't relate. Maybe it's a raccoon thing. I don't eat spice, but okay. You can probably deal with like the physical pain later on, but like the mental healing, that's not bad. That's good. That is actually good. So I guess you win some, you lose some. Go get bubble tea or something, milk tea or something, naicha. Go get boba. It helps. It always helps. What do you mean by huntress? What? Cookie, why are you doing a Grungus? You do realize I am not doing DBD now, right? If you want to play DBD later tonight, I can, but I'm not. Why? I'm gonna refund your points. Please don't. And please don't. Why are you trolling, Cookie? Why are you trolling? You're being very distracting, princess. I can't work like this. I have less than 45 minutes. Oh my god. Lower chat barrier this minute. It is low, guys. What do you... Follower only chat. This is a follower only chat. Emote only chat. Subscribe only chat. Yo, what the... Grungus, why? Give your attention. Okay, princess. Let us... You guys are already in. What do you mean? You have my full attention now, princess. Yes, how can I help you? How can I help you, princess? Cookie? Yes, you have my full attention right now. How can I help you? What do you want? You are distracting me on purpose. Please. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, my little cutie patootie. How are you doing today? I hope your morning's going well. I hope you had a great night, great sleep. Hello, Lara. Hello, Lara. Yes, Singaporean novelist. I wouldn't say novelist. I won't say novelist. I am doing this as a Twitch follower milestone reward to congratulate one of my friends. Am I a novelist? No, I'm not. Amazon terminated me. What do you mean? I'm not a novelist anymore. Amazon terminated me. I can't be a novelist. I can't be a novelist. They terminated me. What do you mean? I have no books online right now. No. Mr. Amazon. Okay, princess. Oh my god. Please, guys. I have 40 more minutes. I can't finish this chapter. I have 40 more minutes before I'm forced to log out from the internet. You guys are not helping. You guys are not helping. Where am I? I'm lost. Where am I? You guys are not helping at all. You're a novelist and Tetris guidebook author. Oh, that's great. Nice. Yeah. So writers aren't exactly the most social people in society and space, so we exist just in corners of like social like in the corners of society. We kind of exist. It's rare. I know it's rare. And see another Singaporean. Oh yeah, we are kind of rare, aren't we? Nice. I guess the Twitch tags are working. Hi, welcome. Welcome to the stream. I am supposed to be working, guys. Stop distracting me. I have like 40 more minutes before I have to get off the internet. You guys aren't helping. Okay, shut up, chat. Shut up for a minute. Chill. Enjoy the music. Let me work. Guys. I need to finish this. I have 2 more. I'll do the rest off stream. I have to finish chapter 2 today. It's kind of long, okay? It's kind of long. Where am I? Mayota. お前らのせいですよ。 Is Singapore real? No, Singapore is not real. Singapore is a fictitious country made by Americans to justify English-speaking Asians. It's not real, Cookie. I'm not real.
She fools all of her friends into thinking she's so strong, but she still sleeps with the light on, and she acts like it's alright on. As she smiles again, and her mother lies there sick with cancer, and her friends don't understand her. She's a question without answers, who feels like falling apart. She knows she's so much more than worthless. She needs to find the purpose. She wonders what she did to deserve this.
Actually, I might be done with the chapter soon. Okay, I'm so happy. I am so happy. Cakap mata. I might be done. I might be done in 10 minutes. 10 minutes, guys. I'll give you my attention after that. Just like Australia, Australia is a fictitious land that has been taken over by a completely train of evolution. It doesn't exist either. It used to exist in an ancient civilization before it now split off from a complete timeline of our reality, so it's not real either. Yep. Totally facts, guys. Totally facts. I got this! I can complete this before dinner, before I starve. Let's go. Okay, shut up, chat. Give me 10 minutes. Give me 5 more minutes. 7 more minutes. I'm good.
Won't ignore him, 'cause that's his biggest fear. And he cries, but you rarely see him do it. And he loves, but he's scared to use it. So he hides behind the music, 'cause he likes it that way. And he knows he's so much more than worthless. He needs to find the surface, 'cause he's starting to get nervous, and he's calling out to you. This is a call out, 'cause every time I fall down, I reach out to you, and I'm losing all control now, and my hazard signs are all out. I'm asking you to show me what this life is all about. Have you ever felt this way before? 'Cause I don't wanna hide here anymore. Take me to a place where nothing's wrong, and thanks for coming. Shut the door, and they say someone out there sees us. Well, if you're real, then save me, Jesus. 'Cause I've been this way for far too long. I wasn't meant to feel alone, and now I'm calling out to you. This is a call out, 'cause every time I fall down, I reach out to you, and I'm losing all control now, and my hazard signs are all out. I'm asking you to show me what this life is all about. Show me what this life is all about. Show me what this life is all about. Let's keep on moving in a forward motion. There's no sense in letting all emotions get in the way until the door keeps closing. I won't be afraid. Your hands, they cover me. It's so worth it. I can't let it fade. My hands are raised, 'cause it's worth it. And I'm not trying to tell you, I'm not trying to tell you, and I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but let's keep it moving in forward motion. If we can then we can cross this ocean. There's no sense in letting all emotions get in the way until the door keeps closing. Let's keep it moving in forward motion. If we can then we can cross this ocean. There's no sense in letting all emotions get in the way until the door keeps closing. After 1,000 years of trouble and trial, destiny will not allow a denial. We claim this land so that we may thrive in the name fly today. Just like a movie, I couldn't speak, I couldn't walk away. 'Cause you flew right through me and I'm not waiting. These hands are shaking, trembling. I've been taken by you. And I was lost before tonight, and I'm so amazed at how you've touched me. Make it right, 'cause I'm alive when I see you. Light up, I light up, I light up when I see you. Light up, I light up, I light up, yeah. I saw another side today I didn't know existed. No words could ever help explain, and I almost missed it. I'm not waiting. These hands are shaking, trembling. I've been taken by you. And I was lost before tonight, and I'm so amazed at how you've touched me. Make it right, 'cause I'm alive when I see you. Light up, I light up, I light up when I see you. Light up, I light up, I light up like stereo lights in the dark. We rise like sparks, like stereo lights in the dark. We rise like sparks, like stereo lights in the dark. We rise like sparks, like stereo lights in the dark. We rise like sparks, yeah. 'Cause I light up, I light up, I light up. You make me, yeah. Light up, I light up, I light up, yeah. The trouble with truth is it never lies, and the trouble with wrong that it's never right. So I rest my head under your light. The trouble with peace is it never fights, and the trouble with love that it's always right. I wanna walk to the edge of it tonight, and I fall down on my knees, 'cause you're everything I need. And I've made a mess of myself on my own, and now I'm on my face, and I'm calling out your name. And I won't run away, 'cause I'm already home. The trouble with tears is that they dry, and the trouble with things made me wanna cry. I've never felt so
Okay, okay. Let me see how long this is. This is very long. It's gonna be even longer in chapter 4. Okay, probably 1,800. Okay, I knew it. I said it was gonna be like 3 times as long as chapter 1 or chapter 2. Those are like 800 plus. This is gonna be like 1,008. Okay, it's like probably twice as long. Okay, I would say it's about twice as long. It's okay, it's good. It's like 2,000-ish. Oh my god, I am done with chapter 3 before I get kicked off the internet to go for dinner. Let me just take a look. Okay, chat, now you have my attention. Oh, hello. Theo Arts. Hello, hello. I am just about done. So I'm almost like ending the stream right now. Thank you for joining at the tail end of it. Oh my god, it took me so long, guys. It took me so long. How long? Okay, let me just check the stream time. 3 hours and 41 minutes? Jesus Christ. Okay, I am still actually not done, which means this is gonna be probably a 4-hour type of work. Okay, it's fine. I would probably be able to finish this off stream over the weekend, and then Lester can actually schedule a reading stream once I finish editing this. So I'll be done probably by the end of this month, right? I'll be done with this meme book for him by the end of this month. Yep, this is chapter 3. I'm done with chapter 3, so the rest of it I will do it off stream. Thank you for joining so far. Oh, I am going to go for dinner, guys. Can I... how do I... Oh, Theo Arts, hi. Thank you for the follow. I don't often stream on Twitch, but I'll be having like... I don't do writing streams all that often here, unfortunately. But I do like collabs here, mostly, and some stuff like that on and off occasionally, right? We chill. Thank you for following. Let me see. How can I... Who can I raid before I end the stream, guys? Okay, let me just check if anybody else is streaming right now. Then we'll go find them. I don't think so. Oh no. Oh no. Right. Okay, we don't have a lot of people who are, you know... Oh, wait, this is brilliant. Okay, so I get to rate new people. I don't actually know who they are, but I see that there is a VTuber who might be reading. Okay, they are called Brioni Rose Smith. I guess we can rate her. Alright, chat, are you guys ready? Okay, let me just see if my rate message works. Alright, so feel free. This is like the rate message. We are going to rate we're gonna rate this person. Oh god, I forgot how to rate. Chat, wait. Okay, let's go and rate this person, right? Drop by and say hi. Thank you for joining. Oh no, she doesn't allow it. Oh god, okay. Yeah, we have to find a new person. No. どうしよう。VTuber. Ah, I need to find someone who speaks English. There's French, there's Polish. 何だ? Who can I read? There's nobody else streaming right now. Why are you guys not streaming? I have so many streamer friends. They are not streaming right now. おかしいでしょ。Cozy Dutch. Zam. Okay, same category, similar size. No. Hello unknown. I'm trying to find people to rate. Are you streaming? Can I rate you, unknown? I want a daycare center to throw my kids at. Hello unknown. Hello. Yeah, let me just do a shout out before that. Do I not have people to rate? That's so crazy, dude. That's so fucking crazy. Alright, shout out to unknown. How do I freaking rate people who are not mutually streaming? Who is streaming? Please tell me you guys are streaming. There's nobody streaming. Nobody's streaming. Actually, nobody's streaming. Oh, the pain. Okay, you know what? I think I found someone. Vibes for anytime writer, reading and writing, Cypher Robinson. Okay, I don't know who this is. Let's go try. Okay, we're gonna try and rate this person. Yeah, I'm gonna try and rate this person. Please allow me to rate. Are we rating him? Are we rating? Okay, are we rating? We good? Rocket Lotto cancel rate. Wait, who is the Rocket? What? Okay, can I? Okay, I'm gonna type in this, right? Okay, we're gonna try. Search and filter. Let me see who is online right now. Rocket Lotto. Valorant. Is that the one? Is that your common friend? They're playing Valorant right now. Is that it, unknown? Okay, I'm gonna try. Okay, Resident Axolotl plays comp. Okay, please. Okay, it's been a while since I played Valorant. Okay, let's go. Yeah, that's someone you know? Okay, that's good. Alright, we're in raid and mutual. Alright, chat, thank you for joining today. I'll do the rest of this offline myself. So, I will not be streaming the rest. Tomorrow, I'll be having a collab with Moon. It takes two, right? So it's gonna be in the morning, my time. Yeah, so I'll be on Twitch, but don't worry, I'll put the VODs out. Okay, so we are going to raid Locket Lotto. Say hi to this person for me. I don't know them. I think unknown knows them. So let's go, guys. Thank you for joining. Goodbye. Thanks for like coming by the stream, even though it's like at the tail end. And I'm so sorry, but I've been doing this for a while and I'm tired.